This is the first part of the novel. For other parts, please refer to the description of this video or the video list on the channel. Chapter 1: Extra Payment. Examine the contract, and if there are no issues, please sign it. A young woman dressed in a black dress of exquisite design handed a contract to Qin Fan. With her bright eyes, delicate nose, and rosy lips, the woman possessed a rare elegance, akin to a celestial being stepping out of a painting. Qin Fan received the contract and promptly began perusing it. The lessee, hereafter referred to as the second party, agrees to lease the boyfriend for 6 months. During this period, the lessor, hereafter referred to as the first party, will pay the second party 8,000 monthly as the leasing fee. Throughout the lease period, the second party must adhere strictly to the guidelines for leasing a boyfriend. First, maintain uninterrupted mobile phone availability 24 hours a day, responding promptly to any summons. Second, without the first party's consent, the second party shall not engage in any physical contact with the first party. Third, unless necessary, neither party shall interfere with the other's private life. Fourth, during the contract period, both parties must maintain confidentiality regarding their true relationship. Fifth, sixth, 24th. Qin Fan finished reading the 24 clauses on the contract and looked at the woman before him, hesitatingly speaking, "Miss Lin, this doesn't seem like hiring a fake boyfriend, it's more akin to employing a personal bodyguard." And Miss Lin, with eyes as serene as autumn water, gazed at Qin Fan, lightly smiling. With her charm, she believed he would surely agree. Extra payment. Qin Fan smiled and spoke. Upon hearing this, Miss Lin's dark eyes flickered, then she took the contract, changed the 8,000 to 10,000 with her pen, and handed it back to Qin Fan, saying, "If you're satisfied, you can sign directly." Qin Fan nodded upon seeing the 10,000 price, then signed his full name as the lessee and handed it back to Miss Lin. Taking the contract and seeing Qin Fan's signature, Miss Lin's eyes sparkled. The handwriting was exceptionally elegant, firm and powerful, a rare sight in this digital age where paper is almost obsolete. To possess such penmanship was indeed rare. Miss Lin then signed her own graceful 3 characters, Lin Qingyan, in the lessor's signature area. After signing, she appraised Qin Fan, whom she found on a part-time job website, handsome, tall, albeit dressed somewhat plainly. With a makeover, he would definitely suit her as a pretend boyfriend. "Mr. Qin, the contract has been signed. What do you need to do next?" Qin Fan immediately got into character. "Now that you're my boyfriend, call me Qingyan." Lin Qingyan said. "Qingyan," Qin Fan said plainly. Lin Qingyan looked at Qin Fan and asked, "Have you ever been in love before?" "No," Qin Fan replied, "I'm not one to develop feelings." "Not one to develop feelings?" Lin Qingyan looked surprised. "Yes," Qin Fan said calmly, "so, no, I haven't been in love." Lin Qingyan laughed at his response, then said, "That's good. I was worried you might develop real feelings for me." "Don't worry, it's just a business arrangement," Qin Fan said. Lin Qingyan knew her charm, any man who spent enough time with her would surely develop feelings. Since he said that, it would save a lot of trouble. "Alright," Lin Qingyan smiled, then opened her purse and handed a neatly printed document to Qin Fan. "This outlines how we met, got to know each other, fell in love, and also includes basic information about my family and relatives. Remember it well, just in case." "Okay." Qin Fan took the document, quickly scanning it with his thumb, memorizing its contents in an instant. "What about your background?" Lin Qingyan asked. "It's clearly stated on the website." "Just that," Qin Fan replied. Lin Qingyan recalled Qin Fan's profile on the website. 25 years old, orphaned, adopted at the age of 9, his foster mother passed away 5 years ago, currently an intern at a hospital in Jiangcheng, and nothing more. "Alright, that simple background works," Lin Qingyan said. Bring, asterisk. At that moment, Lin Qingyan's phone rang. She answered it, her expression changing slightly, then quickly hung up and said to Qin Fan, "Let's go now." "Okay," Qin Fan readily agreed. The two left the tea house together. "I'll drive, wait for me," Lin Qingyan said to Qin Fan as she left in her high heels. Qin Fan stood silently on the side of the road, thinking to himself, "I hope this time I can fully integrate into the life of a mortal and comprehend the Tao, thus establishing my own enlightenment and stepping into the realm of transcendence." Qin Fan was at the early stage of Yuan cultivation. To achieve transcendence, he needed to comprehend the Tao and develop his own enlightenment. For over 200 years, his cultivation had relied solely on battles, with no connection to understanding the Tao. If he continued like this, breaking through to transcendence would be hopeless. Therefore, to comprehend the Tao, he chose to first become mortal, then transcend. Thus, he arrived on this planet called Earth, where spiritual energy was scarce, to become mortal and comprehend the Tao. When he arrived on Earth, he coincided with a man named Qin Fan falling to his death while mountain climbing. Using soul-searching techniques, he gained Qin Fan's memories and then, using his own divine abilities, assumed Qin Fan's appearance and identity to live on Earth. Qin Fan was a destitute intern doctor. To continue living, he needed to earn money. So, he took on this well-paying part-time job as a fake boyfriend. Get in the car. Soon, a red BMW stopped in front of Qin Fan. Lin Qingyan leaned out and said to Qin Fan. Qin Fan promptly sat in the passenger seat. My uncle and aunt are here today. If I don't signal, don't speak, leave everything to me, don't mess up, Lin Qingyan instructed Qin Fan as they sat in the car. Understood, Qin Fan replied. The documents are in the car, hurry up and look at them, Lin Qingyan urged. Qin Fan nodded, picked up the documents, and pretended to read them. In reality, with his Yuan cultivation, one scan with his divine sense and he remembered everything. About half an hour later, the car arrived at a high-end restaurant. After parking the car, Lin Qingyan and Qin Fan got out. However, after getting out of the car, Lin Qingyan looked at Qin Fan's rustic attire and felt a headache coming on. With his appearance, he wouldn't even be able to enter this Michelin 3-star restaurant without her by his side. In the end, she shook her head helplessly, then walked to Qin Fan's side, took a deep breath, and reminded him, "Don't mess up, okay?" "Don't worry," Qin Fan said. With that, he extended his right hand, indicating for Lin Qingyan to hold it. "What are you doing?" Lin Qingyan asked, puzzled. "To avoid any slip-ups, we should appear more intimate. So, you should hold my hand as we go in," Qin Fan reminded Lin Qingyan with a serious and responsible attitude toward his work. Lin Qingyan stared at Qin Fan. Though he was right, asking her to hold a man's hand, especially one she had just met today, in public was too much for her. "Miss Lin, it's just acting," Qin Fan spoke again. Lin Qingyan gave Qin Fan a white look, then blushed slightly, reaching out to hold Qin Fan's hand. It was her first time being so intimate with a man, especially holding a man's hand in public whom she had just met today. Then she said, "Let's go." Soon, the two entered the restaurant, immediately drawing everyone's attention. "Isn't that Miss Lin? She's actually holding hands with a man. This will surely make headlines in Jiangqing tomorrow. The Ice Queen CEO of Jiangqing Xiaoli Company, Lin Qingyan, holding hands with a man? It'll definitely make the front page tomorrow." Inside the restaurant, many people whispered. Lin Qingyan was well aware of all this but chose to ignore it for now. Leading Qin Fan, she entered a VIP room. Inside the room were three people, a middle-aged man of dignified appearance, an elegant and luxurious middle-aged woman, and a handsome young man wearing an Armani shirt, with an arrogant demeanor. Seeing Lin Qingyan enter while holding Qin Fan's hand, they immediately showed displeasure and carefully scrutinized Qin Fan. "Qingyan, it's rare that your uncle and aunt are here today, yet you've brought a bodyguard with you, and you're even this intimate," the handsome young man said coldly, looking at Qin Fan. "Let me introduce you. This is my boyfriend, Qin Fan." Lin Qingyan's eyes gleamed as she looked at Qin Fan. Chapter 2, Presenting a Radish? Boyfriend? Where did you find a boyfriend? You only have a fiancé, this is absolute nonsense. As soon as Lin Qingyan finished speaking, her father slammed the table and angrily addressed her. "Qingyan, you are truly incorrigible. Your fiancé is right here, yet you have brought someone claiming to be your boyfriend." Lin Qingyan's mother also frowned deeply, showing extreme displeasure. "I do not have a fiancé. Those arrangements were made by you. I do not acknowledge them. I only have a boyfriend, Qin Fan." Lin Qingyan said sternly, while signaling to Qin Fan to speak. "Uncle, aunt, greetings. I am Qingyan's boyfriend, Qin Fan. You may call me Xiao Qin." Qin Fan greeted them with a smile. "Heh, a boyfriend?" The handsome man sneered, looking at Qin Fan. "I am Jiang Wenbin, Lin Qingyan's legitimate fiancé. You, on the other hand, are just a counterfeit. Qingyan, even if you were to find a counterfeit, you should at least find a decent one. Look at his attire, not worth more than 300 yuan from head to toe. How could you possibly be interested in him?" Lin Qingyan's father looked at her with disappointment. What was her identity? A renowned female CEO in Jiangcheng, 24 years old, in control of a company worth nearly 500 million, plus outstanding looks. In Jiangcheng, she had attracted countless talented youths, yet none had captured Lin Xingyan's interest. This Qin fan in front of her was obviously a bumpkin. How could he possibly win Lin Xingyan's affection? Clearly fake, not even worthy of being a fake. Xingyan, what's wrong with Wenbin? He is one of Jiangcheng's top 10 outstanding youths, 25 years old with assets worth hundreds of millions, in control of a billion-dollar company. I arranged such a fiancé for you. Where did I go wrong? Lin Xingyan's mother voiced her discontent. As she spoke, she even signaled for the waiter, "Get security, have them throw this guy out." Upon hearing that Qin Fan was going to be thrown out, Lin Xingyan immediately spoke up, indignant, "Qin Fan is my boyfriend. Why do you think I would not be interested in him? And besides, you're not even my real mother. Why do you get to arrange my life events? You're saying this again. Quickly apologize to your mother. She has raised you for so many years, and you show no gratitude?" Lin Xingyan's father reprimanded her sternly upon hearing her words. "Do you think I don't know your intentions? You just want shares in Xioli Media. Let me tell you, those were left to me by my grandparents. You dare not lay a finger on Xioli." Lin Xingyan retorted sharply. "Xingyan, you misunderstand. How could I possibly have designs on Xioli? I only wish for you and Xioli to thrive." Jiang Wenbin immediately interjected. "Jiang Wenbin, stop pretending. Xioli has faced several business failures recently, on the brink of crisis. Do you think I don't know it's your Jiang family causing trouble behind the scenes? You want to use Xioli to threaten me into marrying you. Dream on." Lin Xingyan confronted Jiang Wenbin. "What Jiang family causing trouble?" Lin Xingyan's father was slightly shocked, looking puzzledly at Jiang Wenbin. "Don't listen to Xingyan. She just wants to infuriate us. Wenbin is only trying to help you. As long as you marry him with the support of the Jiang family, Xioli will naturally overcome its crisis." Lin Xingyan's mother chimed in. Qin Fan silently watched the four of them quarrel, their words like swords, his mind sighing, "Is this part-time job so complicated? Fiancé, company crisis? If I had known, I should have asked for more money." Of course, the complexity of the relationships was good for him. It allowed him to see more of the relationships between mortals, making it easier for him to integrate into the mortal world and comprehend the Tao. "My boyfriend is Qin Fan. I won't marry anyone else." Lin Xingyan spoke loudly, then leaned slightly toward Qin Fan, tapping him to indicate it was his turn to speak. "Uncle, Aunt, I am indeed Xingyan's boyfriend. I came to dinner at her request." Qin Fan immediately spoke, deliberately leaning closer to Lin Xingyan, appearing very intimate. Seeing Qin Fan and Lin Xingyan behaving so intimately, Jiang Wenbin's face turned even darker. This was his fiancée, yet she was being intimate with another man. He felt a surge of jealousy. "Quickly, get security and throw this man out." Lin Xingyan's mother couldn't bear it any longer and screamed loudly, "If he leaves, I'll leave too." Lin Xingyan once again protected Qin Fan. "You unfilial daughter, trying to infuriate me. Look at him, is our Lin family's table something you can just bring any man to? Is he worthy?" Lin Xingyan's father was furious. "Uncle, Aunt, calm down. Xingyan was just momentarily impulsive. Perhaps she will break up with him in a few days?" Jiang Wenbin interjected at this moment, his words carrying a threat. "Even if we break up, I won't marry you. Give up already. Besides, I won't break up with Qin Fan." Lin Xingyan retorted immediately. "I am truly infuriated. How could someone like him be Xingyan's boyfriend? She's really an unfilial daughter. I don't acknowledge it." Lin Xingyan's mother was so angry that she sat down heavily on her chair, glaring at Lin Xingyan. "Aunt, don't be angry. It's just a meal. I can afford it. Since everyone is here, let's sit down and have a meal with Qin Fan." Jiang Wenbin suddenly changed his tone, speaking with a smile. Lin Xingyan's mother looked at Jiang Wenbin, thinking that he must have some scheme. She then spoke, "Since young Master Jiang says so, I won't object. Let's sit down and have a meal together." Lin Xingyan knew there must be a plot. Sure enough, after Jiang Wenbin sat down, he immediately took out an exquisitely crafted box and handed it to Lin Xingyan's parents. "Uncle, Aunt, this is a token of my respect for you. Lin Xingyan's parents naturally did not refuse, smiling as they accepted the box and opened it. Ginseng. This ginseng is huge. After opening the box, Lin Xingyan's parents immediately exclaimed in surprise. Lin Xingyan then looked over and saw a ginseng inside the box, about 20 centimeters long, with a marked weight of 120 grams. Uncle, aunt, this is wild mountain ginseng, worth no less than 2 million. Jiang Wenbin saw the expressions of Lin Xingyan's parents and immediately smiled as he spoke. Lin Xingyan's parents' eyes lit up at the mention of this price. 2 million, a valuable gift indeed. Lin Xingyan instantly understood why Jiang Wenbin had suddenly changed his mind. Seeing her parents receiving gifts. Now that Jiang Wenbin had given such an expensive gift, if Qin Fan didn't come up with a good gift, he would lose face on the spot to Jiang Wenbin. Then, what awaited Qin Fan would be a bout of humiliation, followed by being kicked out by Lin Xingyan's parents. But today's arrival was too abrupt, and she didn't have time to help Qin Fan prepare a gift. Xiao Jiang is thoughtful indeed. I've been feeling a bit weak recently. This ginseng couldn't have come at a better time. Lin Xingyan's father spoke repeatedly. The gift was truly excellent. What Xiao Jiang? He's a good son-in-law. Only a good son-in-law would give such a valuable and thoughtful gift. Unlike someone who can't produce anything, Lin Xingyan's mother spoke at this moment, her words dripping with sarcasm, obviously deliberately teasing Qin Fan and making him feel embarrassed. Seeing this, Lin Xingyan quickly spoke up, "Gift, I have some." However, at this moment, Qin Fan's voice suddenly came, "Wild mountain ginseng? Young Master Jiang, you've been swindled. You paid 2 million for a radish." Qin Fan's words instantly silenced the room. The sound of a pin dropping could be heard. All four of them looked at Qin Fan, their faces filled with shock. What nonsense are you spouting? Wild ginseng is presented here, and you call it a radish to me? Truly a country bumpkin with no discernment. Jiang Wenbin reacted, mocking Qin Fan. Wild it may be, but it's still just a wild radish. Qin Fan spoke up again. Chapter 3, Cohabitation. Indeed, it may be wild, but it's merely a wild radish. However, the craftsmanship is quite remarkable. Those unfamiliar with such matters may truly mistake it for the genuine article, Qin Fan remarked lightly to Jiang Wenbin. Don't feign ignorance. It's only because you couldn't present such an impressive gift that you resort to calling it fake, Lin's mother sneered. A perfectly fine wild ginseng presented here, how could it possibly be fake? To call it a radish is utter nonsense, Lin's father joined in, mocking Qin Fan. Xingyan, look at what kind of boyfriend you've found. He's utterly undeserving. Lin's father directed his sarcasm towards Qin Fan after speaking to Lin Xingyan. Lin Xingyan glared at Qin Fan, clearly conveying, "What are you saying? This isn't what we discussed." Meanwhile, Jiang Wenbin leaned back in his chair, watching Qin Fan embarrass himself with composure. Qin Fan continued with a smile, "Have you heard the phrase beautiful on the outside, worthless within? No matter how pleasing it may appear externally, if it lacks substance, it remains but a facade." The four of them displayed subtle changes in their expressions upon hearing this. Indeed, the wild ginseng appeared beautiful on the outside, but its true quality inside remained unknown to all. Are you suggesting that this wild ginseng is already rotten inside? Jiang Wenbin spoke with a cold expression. Yes, rotten. If you don't believe me, cut it open and see for yourself, Qin Fan replied calmly. If you dare cut it open, and it turns out to be genuine wild ginseng, you'll be responsible for destroying a perfectly good specimen, Jiang Wenbin retorted, seizing upon Qin Fan's suggestion as an opportunity. Upon hearing Jiang Wenbin's words, Lin Xingyan immediately realized his scheme and pulled Qin Fan, advising him not to fall for it. However, Qin Fan simply chuckled, "Let's cut it open. If it's genuine, I'll compensate you just a small sum." Lin Xingyan's eyes widened upon hearing Qin Fan refer to 2 million as a small sum, silently cursing him for his audacity. Jiang Wenbin, sensing Qin Fan's vulnerability, smirked, "But you don't seem like someone with money." "I find it hard to believe." "I may not have money, but my girlfriend does," Qin Fan replied with a smile. Lin Xingyan, caught off guard by Qin Fan's words, was left fuming inwardly. However, she dared not reveal her anger and could only remain silent, which, to the others, seemed like acquiescence. In an instant, Lin's parents understood that if this were indeed genuine, they could force Lin Xingyan to compensate for it, leading to Qin Fan's immediate dismissal. Then, Jiang Wenbin could graciously decline compensation, thereby earning Lin Qingyan's favor, killing two birds with one stone. This scheme was indeed cunning. Very well, in that case, I shall cut it open, Jiang Wenbin said with a smile. Subsequently, Jiang Wenbin instructed a waiter to bring a small knife and carefully proceeded to slice open the ginseng. Lin's parents watched with anticipation, but their expressions quickly turned to shock the next moment. Even Jiang Wenbin stared wide-eyed, his face filled with disbelief. You see, it's rotten, Qin Fan remarked with a smile. The interior of the wild ginseng was withered and decayed, far from being genuine, resembling nothing more than a rotten radish. It's truly fake! Lin Qingyan exclaimed, covering her mouth in astonishment. How is this possible? I purchased it from Jinkatang, Jiang Wenbin protested incredulously. Lin's parents shared his disbelief. Jinkatang, the renowned pharmacy in Jiang City, was known for its reliability. How could it possibly sell fake goods? You've been deceived, young Master Jiang. Perhaps a visit to Jinkatang could rectify this, Qin Fan suggested timely. Jiang Wenbin stared at Qin Fan, at a loss for words. He felt as though Qin Fan had seen through his intentions and laid bare his innermost thoughts. Lin Qingyan, observing Qin Fan, couldn't help but admire his resourcefulness. Enough talk. Let's eat, Lin's mother interjected, coming to Jiang Wenbin's aid. Jiang, the sentiment behind your gift matters most. We appreciate your gesture, Lin's father added, echoing his wife's sentiment. Darling, are you hungry? Let's eat, Qin Fan said gently to Lin Qingyan, using an affectionate term. Lin Qingyan felt goosebumps at the endearment but couldn't help but acknowledge Qin Fan's convincing portrayal. Yes, darling, let's eat, Lin Qingyan responded with a tender tone, joining in the charade. Jiang Wenbin's face darkened considerably at the sight of their intimacy. How shameless! Do you have any idea how exceptional Qingyan is? Do you know the extent of the Lin family's wealth? You, a country bumpkin, are in no position to aspire to such heights. A toad trying to eat swan meat. Lin's mother scoffed disdainfully upon hearing this. Qin Fan immediately embraced Lin Qingyan and planted a kiss on her cheek, saying, Auntie, look, I've had my share. Lin Qingyan, caught off guard by the sudden kiss, turned to glare at Qin Fan, wanting to explode in anger. But in the current situation, she knew it was futile. She stifled her emotions, her face flushing red with embarrassment, feigning shyness as she spoke in a sweet voice, Darling, this is so embarrassing. Embarrassing indeed. Let's save it for when we're alone later, Qin Fan replied with a smile. Uncle, Aunt, please enjoy your meal. Something urgent has come up at the company, so I must leave, Jiang Wenbin said, slamming his chopsticks on the table and rising with a grim expression. With that, Jiang Wenbin left without heeding Lin's parents' attempts to detain him. This time, not only did Qin Fan avoid humiliation, but his fiancée was also flirted with in his presence, with a suggestion of intimacy afterward, effectively branding him with a cuckold's hat. Never mind, I've lost my appetite too, Lin's mother said, seeing Jiang Wenbin's departure, and promptly pulled Lin's father to leave. Thus, only Qin Fan and Lin Qingyan remained. Qin Fan, you violated the terms of our contract by kissing me, Lin Qingyan immediately reprimanded him. It's all part of the act. Without such a display, they wouldn't have believed it, Qin Fan replied, continuing to eat his meal. But it's still a breach of contract. Lin Qingyan reminded him. The contract didn't mention your engagement. That Jiang Wenbin seems like a wealthy heir. He probably despises me now, Qin Fan continued. Lin Qingyan was left speechless. If not for the influence of the Jiang family and the pressure from her parents, she wouldn't be trapped. Moreover, she had no intention of marrying Jiang Wenbin, which led her to resort to the fake boyfriend scheme. However, this dinner made her realize she had underestimated the situation. And only by demonstrating such intimacy will Jiang Wenbin give up. Besides, I risked my life back there. He probably wants to kill me now, Qin Fan said, eating his food and speaking simultaneously. Lin Qingyan turned her head away in silence, contemplating his words. Qin Fan was right. Jiang Wenbin would surely not let him off easily in the future. Finally, she took a deep breath and said to Qin Fan, You should stay temporarily at my villa with me. It's too dangerous for you to live alone. Chapter 4, The Chaos Pearl. After finishing lunch, Lin Qingyan drove her crimson BMW and escorted Qin Fan to her residence, the Mirror Lake Garden. The Mirror Lake Garden was one of the most affluent residential areas in Jiang City, nestled against the city's inner lake, with its inhabitants either wealthy or prestigious. Though Lin Qingyan's villa was situated on the periphery, its value was easily worth 10 million. Leading Qin Fan into her villa, Lin Qingyan showcased its minimalist decor. While not ostentatious, it exuded sophistication and comfort. "Miss, have you had lunch?" Following their entry into the villa, a kind woman in her 50s, with a rosy complexion, hurried downstairs from the second floor. Upon seeing Qin Fan behind Lin Qingyan, the woman froze as if seeing a ghost. "Wang Shu, our housekeeper. This is Qin Fan," Lin Qingyan introduced, pausing momentarily before awkwardly adding, "My boyfriend, who will be staying here for a few days." Upon hearing Lin Qingyan's words, Wang Shu's mouth fell agape, tears welling up as she grasped Lin Qingyan's hand, exclaiming, "Miss, have you finally found love? My long wait has come to an end." Observing Wang Shu's reaction, Lin Qingyan quickly interjected, "Wang Shu, Qin Fan offended Jiang Wenbin, and it's safer here, so I invited him to stay for a while. Don't read too much into it." "Oh, I understand. Wang Shu quickly replied, then turned to Qin Fan with a warm smile, "Qin Fan, I'll call you Xiao Fan from now on." Qin Fan, looking at Wang Shu, felt a slight tremor in his heart. This old housekeeper is quite extraordinary, harboring true energy within. Lin Qingyan's situation seems rather complex. "Wang Shu is speaking to you. Respond." Lin Qingyan, seeing Qin Fan's lack of response, expressed her displeasure, "You must show respect to Wang Shu. If you disrespect her, I won't spare you." "Wang Shu, greetings. I hesitated to address you earlier as I wasn't sure of the proper form," Qin Fan politely replied. "A courteous young man indeed. Miss, you have excellent taste." Wang Shu responded with a beaming smile. Upon hearing Wang Shu's praise of Qin Fan, Lin Qingyan rolled her eyes and then said, "Wang Shu, I have to go to the company now. Take care of this guy." With that, Lin Qingyan hurriedly left the villa. "Miss, will you be back for dinner tonight?" Wang Shu quickly inquired. "No, I won't be back. The company is very busy lately," Lin Qingyan replied. "Miss, please take care of yourself and don't overwork," Wang Shu advised before turning to Qin Fan, "Xiao Fan, let me show you to your room." "All right," Qin Fan replied. Soon, Wang Shu led Qin Fan to a room on the second floor and helped him settle in. "Xiao Fan, are you really Mrs. Boyfriend?" Wang Shu asked as she tidied up. "Yes," Qin Fan replied. "If you move in, will your parents say anything?" Wang Shu casually inquired. "I'm an orphan, adopted by a foster mother in my childhood. However, she passed away 5 years ago, leaving me alone. So, it doesn't matter where I live." Qin Fan candidly revealed his background. Upon hearing Qin Fan's story, Wang Shu was momentarily stunned, then quickly reproached herself, "I shouldn't have asked about this. It's all right. I've managed all these years." Qin Fan replied with a hearty laugh. These were the memories he had gained through soul-searching. Indeed, his background was as he stated. Therefore, the original Qin Fan had always faced hardships and harbored some inferiority and melancholy. The supposed mountain hiking accident that led to his fall might have been a suicide or had hidden complexities. Of course, Qin Fan didn't delve deeper. He was now living in place of the original Qin Fan, simultaneously fulfilling the latter's last wish. As a reward for using this identity, it might also contribute to his comprehension of the Tao. Changing the subject, Wang Shu asked, "Xiao Fan, what do you do normally?" "I am an intern doctor at Jiang City Hospital. I've been on leave recently due to some personal matters, but I'll be returning to work in a few days," Qin Fan replied. "A doctor, how wonderful. I truly hope you and Miss will last. Then, I can call you master, and I can help you take care of your children in the future," Wang Shu said with a smile. Qin Fan smiled at the remark, knowing it was impossible. Once he comprehended the Tao, entered the nascent soul stage, he would leave. Besides, the contract was only for 6 months. "All right, Xiao Fan, you rest here. I'll prepare dinner." Wang Shu swiftly arranged everything, then said, "Wang Shu, let me help you." Qin Fan offered. No need. If you're not tired, you can go outside for a walk. The environment here is excellent, and you can get familiar with it since you'll be staying here," Wang Shu suggested. Qin Fan nodded. In his brief interaction with Wang Shu, he realized that although she was not simple, she genuinely cared for Lin Qingyan and was a pleasant person to be around. Following Wang Shu's advice, Qin Fan left Lin Qingyan's villa and wandered around the Mirror Lake Garden. The greenery in the Mirror Lake Garden was splendid, with hills, water, and a well-planned layout, resembling a park with hills and water. As Qin Fan approached the lakeside, he saw numerous people, young and old, enjoying the winter afternoon sun. Observing these ordinary people, a feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time slowly permeated his heart, and his spiritual energy began to stir involuntarily. Subsequently, Qin Fan surveyed the surroundings and noticed a garden by the lake where he sensed a gathering of spiritual energy. He walked toward it. This garden was intentionally cultivated, surrounded by white stones resembling hills, concealing profound mysteries. Within these artificial hills were carvings of white jade, each piece incredibly valuable. On a planet lacking in spiritual energy and Taoist traditions, there's actually a spiritual gathering array. Though rudimentary, I happen to be in the right frame of mind, so I'll make use of it. Qin Fan walked into the garden. Soon, Qin Fan sat cross-legged, and a thick layer of blood mist enveloped him. Though heavy, the aura did not leak out but gathered instead. This blood mist was not visible to ordinary people, not even to most cultivators. This blood mist was the accumulation of 200 years of killings by Qin Fan. Over time, this killing intent turned into resentment, and with Qin Fan's continued killing, it eventually condensed into terrifying malevolence. This malevolence constantly protected Qin Fan. If he didn't suppress it and released it recklessly, any ordinary person who approached him would instantly be shattered into pieces. As Qin Fan's spiritual energy circulated, a spiritual pearl floated above his brow. Like his malevolent aura, neither mortals nor ordinary cultivators could see it. This was the Chaos Pearl. Qin Fan's true self was born into a small cultivation family in the Blue Profound Star region. The family stumbled upon this precious treasure, the Chaos Pearl, by chance, but due to a traitor leaking information, they were targeted by a powerful sect. Ultimately, the family was exterminated, but Qin Fan, with his parents' help, fled with the Chaos Pearl. From then on, he used the Chaos Pearl to change his spiritual roots. After enduring countless trials, he became a nascent soul cultivator, sought revenge on the sect, but was ambushed by numerous nascent soul stage cultivators hired by the sect, leading to a failed vengeance attempt. However, that battle spread Qin Fan's name throughout the Blue Profound Star region. As a nascent soul stage cultivator, he faced several nascent soul stage cultivators and managed to escape, displaying terrifying strength that shook the entire region. If Qin Fan were to reach the nascent soul stage, he would be invincible in the Blue Profound Star region. Consequently, numerous forces pursued him. To evade pursuit, he had to leave the Blue Profound Star region, seeking an opportunity to break through to the nascent soul stage. Eventually, he arrived on Earth, where spiritual energy was scarce. It was strange that although there were many options, it seemed as if the Chaos Pearl guided him to Earth. After the appearance of the Chaos Pearl, his malevolent aura surged, then condensed but couldn't continue to condense beyond about 1/10 of its original size, no matter what he tried. Taking a deep breath, Qin Fan wanted to continue trying, but his expression changed when he saw a woman not far away, swiftly approaching with someone. Chapter 5: The Zheng Family. Qin Fan retracted everything into his body, while the two individuals also entered the garden. At this moment the woman appeared to be in her early 20s, with a celestial countenance and graceful figure. The man had a crew cut, clad in a black suit, evidently the woman's bodyguard. Upon entering the garden, these two paid no attention to Qin Fan and hurriedly rushed to the center. "Miss, it's not good, everything has rotted," the man anxiously exclaimed. The woman, gazing at the withered shrubs and the 3 rotten fruits on them, her expression turned cold. She then turned to Qin Fan and coldly asked, "Who are you? Why did you trespass into my family's territory, causing the 3 spiritual fruits in my family to rot?" "Spiritual fruits?" Qin Fan heard the woman's words, then looked at the withered shrubs and the rotten fruits nearby, and couldn't help but smile wryly. "So, this gathering array is for nurturing these rotten fruits." This shrub was called the silver leaf hibiscus, considered the lowest level spiritual plant in the cultivation world, capable of producing the silver leaf spiritual fruits used to feed spiritual beasts as mounts. In the eyes of Qin Fan, who was at the foundation establishment stage, these were indeed like roadside weeds, so he didn't pay attention when he entered. After all, who would pay attention to things used to feed animals on the roadside? Now, these were being cared for by a gathering array and seemed to have become treasures. As for why these silver leaf spiritual fruits had withered and rotted, it was because of the Chaos Pearl. The Chaos Pearl spontaneously absorbed and refined the surrounding spiritual energy, then provided it to Qin Fan for cultivation. After the spiritual energy contained in the silver leaf spiritual fruits was absorbed, they withered. Rotten fruits? The woman's face grew even colder upon hearing this. Even if they are rotten fruits, this is still the territory of the Jiang family. Everything inside, even a blade of grass or a stone, is not allowed to be touched by anyone. The Jiang family's territory? Qin Fan raised his eyebrows. I really didn't notice that. Need a notice? Who in Jiang City doesn't know that Mirror Lake is the territory of the Jiang family, and she is the young miss of our Jiang family, Jiang Qingyan? The man with the crew cut stared at Qin Fan with a warning in his eyes. I really didn't know. Qin Fan replied candidly. I just moved in here. Miss, no need to waste words with him. The man with the crew cut spoke in a solemn tone. Be gentle. Jiang Qingyan spoke up. Immediately, the man with the crew cut took a step forward, his large hand grabbing Qin Fan's shoulder. But in the next moment, the man's face changed. He found that no matter how hard he tried, Qin Fan stood like a rock, unmoving. I'll give you a chance to back off, or else, bear the consequences. Qin Fan spoke calmly arrogant. The man with the crew cut failed to subdue Qin Fan, then raised his foot, ready to make a harsh move against him. Qin Fan could only raise his hand and gently push the man's chest. Qin Fan didn't use a slap, but a push. He was afraid that if he slapped, he might turn the man into a pancake. With this push, a wave of energy surged out, causing a strong wind to blow, making the woman's long hair and windbreaker flutter, revealing her exquisite figure wrapped in tight clothing. As for Qin Yao, his entire body was sent flying backward, then crashed onto an artificial hill. Bang! The artificial hill shattered upon impact, and then the man fell to the ground, grimacing in pain. If he hadn't been a martial artist, his ribs would probably have been shattered by that push. Chen Yao! Jiang Qingyan exclaimed in shock, then hurried over to help Chen Yao up. Miss, this person is an innate master. Chen Yao struggled to get up and spoke. An innate master? Jiang Qingyan's eyes widened in astonishment. Are you sure? Miss won't be wrong. Just now, this gentleman used external true energy. If he hadn't held back, I would have died already. Chen Yao said, still shaken. Upon hearing this, Jiang Qingyan looked at Qin Fan, secretly amazed. He's actually an innate master. His background seems extraordinary. Thinking of this, Jiang Qingyan changed her previous cold expression and said, Sir, this is indeed my family's territory, with unmanned drones patrolling the surroundings regularly. Speaking, she took out her phone, opened an app, and soon, a drone flew over and hovered around. I saw you trespassing through the drone's footage, so I rushed here in a hurry. This also proves that the garden is our Jiang family's property. Jiang Qingyan continued. With tears welling up in her eyes, Jiang Qingyan sobbed, Sir, do you know that those 3 spiritual fruits are my grandfather's life-saving medicinal ingredients? So, the construction of this gathering garden is to wait for them to mature as medicine to save my grandfather's illness. Curing illness? These silver leaf spiritual fruits can't cure any illness, no matter how many you eat. Qin Fan shook his head. It's impossible. We have invited a grandmaster, and these fruits must be used as medicine. Jiang Qingyan immediately responded to Qin Fan's words. Then you've been deceived. Silver leaf spiritual fruits can't cure illnesses, no matter how many you eat. Qin Fan said very seriously. Upon hearing this, tears welled up in Jiang Qingyan's beautiful eyes, and then she sobbed, My grandfather doesn't have much time left. Originally, these 3 spiritual fruits were my grandfather's last hope. Qin Fan looked at Jiang Qingyan, his eyebrows slightly furrowed, and then said, Forget it, this matter started because of me, so I'll compensate you. Cultivation emphasizes cause and effect. He had gained some insights and achieved some minor success here, resulting in the 3 spiritual fruits rotting. It was considered owing the other party, so compensation was necessary. Really? Jiang Qingyan's tears turned into a smile upon hearing this. Miss, we can't let him go. His background is unknown, and we can't let him meet the old master. Chen Yao quickly spoke up. Chen Yao, do we have any other options? Jiang Qingyan asked back. Chen Yao remained silent. In that case, since this young man is such a young innate master, why not give it a try? Jiang Qingyan immediately turned to Chen Yao and said, with a meaningful look in her eyes as she spoke. Chen Yao understood her intention. The subtle movements between these two naturally couldn't escape the notice of Qin Fan, who was at the foundation establishment stage as a rogue cultivator, who had experienced countless intrigues in the cultivation world. If he couldn't see through such calculations, he would have been long gone. However, he didn't care. After all, the other party posed no threat to him whatsoever. "What should I call you, sir?" "Jiang." Xing Yan asked. "Qin Fan." Qin Fan replied. "Mr. Qin, please follow me. I'll take you to meet my grandfather," Jiang Qingyan said. With that, she and Chen Yao led Qin Fan onto the speedboat by the shore, heading towards an island in the center of Mirror Lake. On that island, there was an extremely luxurious single villa. Jiang Qingyan occasionally glanced at Qin Fan on the boat. Young, really too young, he looked about the same age as her. To be an innate master at such a young age made Jiang Qingyan unable to believe it. In martial arts, there were the stages of acquired, innate, grandmaster, and grandmaster supreme. Many martial artists spent their entire lives only reaching the acquired stage, while the innate stage, she had naturally encountered. The youngest ones were around 40 years old. The current Qin Fan, who appeared to be barely in his 20s, being an innate master, made it really difficult for Jiang Qingyan to believe. "Mr. Qin, what do you usually do?" Jiang Qingyan asked. "I'm an intern at Jiangcheng Hospital," Qin Fan replied. Upon hearing Qin Fan's words, Jiang Qingyan and Chen Yao were immediately stunned. An innate master working as an intern at a hospital? Was this a joke? Moreover, would an intern dare to go and treat her grandfather's illness? Doctor, saving lives and helping the needy, truly deserving of the title, Mr. Qin. However, in order not to startle the snake, Jiang Qingyan complimented him. In her heart, she had already decided that Qin Fan was lying and had ulterior motives. Soon, the speedboat stopped at the edge of the island, and Jiang Qingyan and Chen Yao got off the speedboat first. Just as Qin Fan was about to step off the boat, he stopped. Suddenly, more than a dozen heavily armed bodyguards rushed out from all around. These bodyguards were all armed with guns, pointing them at Qin Fan. Chapter 6, I do not practice martial arts. Over a dozen armed bodyguards pointed their guns at Qin Fan. Should he dare to move, they would undoubtedly open fire. With one foot on the edge of the speedboat and a hand resting on his knee, Qin Fan gazed with interest at Jiang Qingning, who stood at a distance. Jiang Qingning's face was cold as she looked at Qin Fan and spoke icily. "Do you think I would allow an unknown person to treat my grandfather? Especially an intern doctor like yourself? Do you think that being in the innate realm makes me afraid of you? Let me tell you, even in the innate realm, one is still vulnerable to firearms here. If you dare to move recklessly, you can still be killed. So, tell me, what is your true origin, and who sent you to harm my Jiang family?" From start to finish, Jiang Qingning never believed Qin Fan. She was convinced that Qin Fan was an enemy sent by the Jiang family to harm her grandfather. Throughout the journey, she behaved respectfully, only to deceive Qin Fan. Qin Fan looked at Jiang Qingning and smiled. "You are quite clever." "Clever?" Jiang Qingning sneered. "There's no need, because I am naturally intelligent." Qin Fan sighed. "Well, since you refuse, the opportunity one offered can only be considered our fate being severed." With that said, Qin Fan prepared to leave. "What place do you think this is, where you can come and go as you please?" Chen Yao shouted. As Chen Yao's words fell, 2 shots were fired at Qin Fan's feet. Bang! Bang! 2 gunshots rang out. However, the next moment, a shocking scene unfolded, leaving everyone astonished. The 2 bullets fell from Qin Fan's legs, and even more astonishingly, their tips were flattened. Jiang Qingning and the others stared wide-eyed, as if they had seen a ghost, all frozen in place. He stopped the bullets with his body. "This is true Qi body protection. You are a grandmaster?" Chen Yao trembled as he spoke. Upon hearing this, Jiang Qingning's pretty face turned pale. Only a grandmaster could deflect bullets with a flick of the finger, and only a grandmaster could remain impervious to knives and guns. Could this young man before them really be a grandmaster? This was unbelievable. The prominent families within the Xia kingdom all had grandmasters to guard them. Every major family spared no effort to cultivate practitioners, as producing a grandmaster meant the birth of a powerful clan. Although her Jiang family held 1/3 of the industrial assets in Jiangcheng, it was regrettable that they lacked a grandmaster. They could only be considered a clan, not even reaching the status of a giant. When facing those clans with grandmasters, they could only kneel and submit. Now, the people present were not even enough to be killed by a grandmaster. Qin Fan knew the other party had misunderstood. He was at the nascent infant realm, and these firearms couldn't harm him at all. If he didn't suppress his protective aura, these bullets would have turned into powder before even reaching him. Of course, he didn't want to explain. He was ready to leave. As for retaliation? After painstakingly grasping some understanding of human nature, if he were to unleash carnage here, it might result in immediate chaos. A grandmaster? A grandmaster wouldn't appear so easily. At this moment, a dignified voice rang out from a distance. Old Tang. You've come. Upon hearing the voice, Chen Yao hurriedly went to greet him. This person was dressed in a green Taoist robe, wearing a pair of black cloth shoes, with white hair but a youthful appearance, resembling an immortal. Grandfather, it's dangerous outside, why did you come out? Upon seeing an old man in a wheelchair behind them, Jiang Qingning rushed over to support the wheelchair. This old man was Jiang Qingning's grandfather, the current head of the Jiang family, Jiang Tianxiong. Old Tang was just helping me with treatment. Upon hearing the gunshots, we came to see what was happening. Why resort to violence? Jiang Tianxiong asked weakly. Grandfather, it's my fault. 3 spiritual fruits rotted away, it's all because of him, Jiang Qingning said, her eyes red. Upon hearing this, Jiang Tianxiong shook his head and comforted her, with old Tang around, I can live for a few more years. Those fruits, we can find them again, there's no need for violence. What? He ruined the silver leaf spiritual fruits? Upon hearing Jiang Qingning's words, old Tang's face turned cold, and he looked at Qin Fan with murderous intent. I understand. Qin Fan looked at old Tang and suddenly understood. So, he spoke, that old man wasn't sick at all. It's just nearing his end, and you, leveraging the Jiang family's influence, had them cultivate silver leaf spiritual fruits to aid in your cultivation. Old Tang's face turned cold upon hearing this accusation. Kid, you're spouting nonsense. But inwardly, he felt a bit panicked. Indeed, Jiang Tianxiong wasn't really ill. He had just used some means to make Jiang Tianxiong seem gravely ill, then used some prescriptions to give him a false hope of recovery, which made the Jiang family obedient to him. Getting anxious means I hit the nail on the head. Qin Fan said playfully to old Tang with a smile that was not a smile. Nonsense, old Tang is from the Chuanjian school, a true lineage of Taoism. Not only is he a mid-level innate expert, but he also has great achievements in alchemy. If not for old Tang, my grandfather would have died a year ago. You, an unknown person, dare to slander old Tang. Jiang Qingning retorted loudly. Your grandfather could have lived for another 4 or 5 years. However, this old man, in order to make the Jiang family believe that he could cure your grandfather, prescribed some drugs to stimulate his potential. This can temporarily restore his health, but it's akin to draining the oil from the lamp. Your grandfather is now at the end of his rope, even living for 3 more months would be considered a long life, Qin Fan said to Jiang Qingning in a shocking tone. Jiang Qingning was stunned by Qin Fan's words, then turned to old Tang and said, Old Tang, what he said. Qin Fan spoke with conviction, making Jiang Qingning inevitably doubt. After all, the other party was a grandmaster, and there was no need to discredit a high-level expert. Miss, don't believe him, he's just a swindler. Old Tang's face darkened as he spoke. After speaking, he turned to Qin Fan and said, Kid, stop pretending here. Pretending? Qin Fan furrowed his brows upon hearing this. What am I pretending? Don't think I don't know, do you have specially made protective plates on your feet? Old Tang sneered coldly at Qin Fan. Specially made protective plates? Qin Fan was taken aback. What on earth? Kid, stop pretending. If you were really at the Grandmaster level, your name would definitely be on the Earth ranking. Old Tang said confidently. Earth ranking? What Earth ranking? Qin Fan was truly confused by the old man's words. Don't you know about the heaven, earth, and human rankings? You come out to deceive people, yet you don't even know the basics? Old Tang sneered at Qin Fan. In the cultivation world, who doesn't know about the heaven, earth, and human rankings, which gather the top practitioners in the world? I do not practice martial arts, so I must have overlooked it. Qin Fan chuckled. Chapter 7, Grandmaster Qin. Miss, as you can see, this person is clearly trying to evade responsibility. There are many deceivers like him in the cultivation world. frequently placing various objects inside their bodies, using specially made protective plates to withstand firearm attacks, and claiming to be a grandmaster. Little did he know, if he were truly a grandmaster, he would undoubtedly be listed on the Earth ranking by the mysterious sex. Miss, take a look, those bullets clearly struck a hard object, causing deformation. If he were a grandmaster, it would be true chi protecting his body, and it wouldn't look like this at all. So, this fellow is nothing but a downright swindler. Unfortunately, you may deceive the miss, but you cannot deceive me. Upon hearing Qin Fan claim he doesn't practice martial arts, Old Tang immediately launched a counterattack, with articulate words. Jiang Qingning and Shen Yao nodded repeatedly upon hearing Old Tang's explanation, showing an understanding expression. I see, thanks to Old Tang's keen eyes, otherwise, we would all have been deceived, Shen Yao praised. Qin Fan couldn't help but laugh and cry. How could a cultivator like him be listed on any martial arts ranking? Moreover, Qin Fan's original identity was that of an ordinary person, far from being listed on any of the 3 rankings of Heaven, Earth, or Human Kid. Let me tell you the truth. I am currently ranked 73rd on the human ranking. Meeting me today, consider yourself unlucky. Old Tang suddenly spoke in a cold tone. As he spoke, a gust of wind stirred beneath Old Tang's feet, displaying his agility as he approached Qin Fan. His intention was to tear off Qin Fan's trousers to expose his deception. Qin Fan shook his head and delivered a slap. Smack! This slap could be described as extremely casual, yet Qin Fan deliberately restrained his strength. The resounding slap echoed through the air. Old Tang let out a cry of agony as his body spun in the air several times before crashing to the ground. After rolling for a few somersaults, he managed to stand up. However, when he stood up, everyone was stunned by Old Tang's appearance. On Old Tang's youthful face with gray hair, there was a bright red palm print, his mouth was bleeding, and to make matters worse, several teeth had fallen out, leaving him with a gaping mouth. You, how dare you? I merely showed you some leniency, yet you dare to use such force. It seems that unless I reveal my true abilities, you won't repent. Old Tang wiped the blood from his mouth and spoke sternly to Qin Fan. However, deep down, he was already extremely frightened. Qin Fan's slap was too powerful, and he hadn't even seen it clearly. This was a true expert. But at this moment, he absolutely couldn't back down. Otherwise, it wouldn't just be a matter of losing face, he would be killed by the Jiang family's people. In order to survive, he had to go all out. Immediately, he used his last resort. Ice Palm of Profound Frost. Old Tang suddenly leaped into the air, gathering a chilly and eerie light on his right palm. A cold true chi emanated, causing the surrounding air to chill, displaying a terrifying aura. Incredible, it's truly Old Tang. This is the most powerful palm technique of the authentic Xuanzhen school, the Ice Palm of Profound Frost. Everyone felt the chilling wind and couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment. This was the strength of a mid-level innate expert. Seeing this scene, Qin Fan felt disgusted. This palm reminded him of a technique used by his enemies, the Taiyin cold poison palm. Of course, the technique Old Tang was using couldn't compare, but the essence was the same. It was a sinister and cold technique, not an authentic martial art of the Xuanzhen school, but rather a dark and evil art. He allowed Old Tang to approach and aim a palm at his forehead. However, the next moment, something unforgettable happened to everyone. Just as Old Tang's palm approached Qin Fan, it was as if his hand was erased by an eraser, disappearing into thin air. Moreover, this disappearance quickly spread to his arm. In just a moment, Old Tang's palm not only failed to hit Qin Fan, but his entire arm seemed to be erased like an eraser, disappearing. Ah! Old Tang let out a piercing scream instantly, then his entire body fell onto the edge of the speedboat, curling up on the ground and moaning in pain. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded. True chi protection, you really are a grandmaster. Old Tang sat paralyzed on the ground, forcefully using true chi to stop the bleeding from his severed arm, his face filled with fear as he looked at Qin Fan. Qin Fan didn't explain. Even if he did, no one present would understand. Just now, he felt a surge of disgust, causing a slight relaxation in his aura of protection. Yes, it was this tiny relaxation that allowed some of his aura of protection to leak out, resulting in the scene just now. If he had relaxed a little more, Old Tang would have instantly turned into a mist of blood and vanished. Seeing this scene, everyone understood completely who the real fraud was. Good, truly a grandmaster, indeed extraordinary. At the moment of shock for everyone, Jiang Tianxiong suddenly stood up from his wheelchair. Mr. Qin, my granddaughter and the others have been blind, offending you. All of this was my fault. We, the Jiang family, are willing to do everything possible to compensate for their mistakes. After Jiang Tianxiong stood up, he sincerely said to Qin Fan. Jiang Qingning lowered her head, unable to look at Qin Fan. That scene just now was too shocking. It was only a close encounter, and Qin Fan hadn't even made a move. If Qin Fan had really attacked, what would it have been like? She couldn't even imagine it. However, she really couldn't believe that the person who looked almost the same age as her was actually a lofty grandmaster. This was simply inconceivable. Qin Fan looked at Jiang Tianxiong and smiled faintly. Based solely on those 2 shots just now, I should have wiped out the Jiang family, but because my mood has changed, and I unintentionally damaged your spiritual fruits, let's consider this matter settled. With these words, Jiang Tianxiong and the others breathed a sigh of relief. But this person. Qin Fan's gaze turned to Old Tang. Grandmaster Qin, spare me, it was my fault for being ignorant. Old Tang felt Qin Fan's gaze and didn't care about the pain. He kowtowed to Qin Fan and begged for mercy. Fire! However, just as Old Tang begged for mercy, Jiang Tianxiong's indifferent voice rang out. Upon hearing this, Chen Yao and the others instantly understood. Bang bang bang! Immediately, a series of gunshots rang out. Along with the gunshots, Old Tang was instantly riddled with bullets and died. These despicable deceivers, allowing Mr. Qin to take action will only tarnish his hands. Such matters will be handled. The estate of the Jiang family. Seated facing each other were Qin Fan and Jiang Tianxiong, while Jiang Qingning stood anxiously nearby, awaiting Qin Fan's medical attention. For Jiang Tianxiong, you weren't actually sick. Under normal circumstances, you could have lived another 4 or 5 years. However, you were worried that your granddaughter wouldn't be able to inherit everything from you in these 4 or 5 years, so you sought ways to prolong your life. In the end, you were deceived, consuming numerous elixirs meant to extend your lifespan. However, these elixirs merely depleted your final reserves, leaving you with at most 3 months to live. Qin Fan spoke in a calm tone. Qin, I must confess, this old body of mine was prepared for death. But once I'm gone, chaos will ensue. And my granddaughter, she isn't capable of inheriting everything from the Jiang family yet. So, I had no choice but to attempt to prolong my life. Little did I know, it would backfire. Jiang Tianxiong sighed deeply as he addressed Qin Fan. The Jiang family's wealth and assets were vast, totaling nearly 100 billion, making them the foremost affluent clan in Jiang City. Yet, Jiang Tianxiong's greatest fear wasn't losing the family's assets but rather the fate of the Jiang family members, especially his only granddaughter. Grandfather, no, nothing will happen to you. Jiang Qingning's eyes reddened as she spoke, then turned to Qin Fan, pleading, Qin, please, save my grandfather. I'll prepare a medicine. Wait here. Qin Fan spoke at this moment. With that said, he rose and picked up a cup from the table before heading to the restroom. After a brief moment, he returned with a cup of water, placing it on the table. Drink this. Qin, what's this? Jiang Qingning asked, full of doubts. Just drink it. Qin Fan insisted. Extending Jiang Tianxiong's life was simple, a pill or infusing his own mana to rejuvenate the aging organs. However, directly infusing his primordial infant-level mana might reverse Jiang Tianxiong's age, so Qin Fan decided to infuse a portion of his mana into the water, exercising restraint. Jiang Tianxiong hesitated briefly as he looked at the cup of water, but ultimately trusted Qin Fan. After all, Qin Fan's strength was undeniable, and there was no need for him to humiliate Jiang Tianxiong in such a manner. In the next moment, he picked up the cup and drank the water in one go. Instantly, Jiang Tianxiong felt a warm current surging through his body. His previously withered skin began to regain its luster at a visible pace, and his spirits, once bleak, now radiated vitality. Jiang Qingning stood by, utterly stunned. After about half an hour, everything stopped. Grandfather, you seem to have rejuvenated by 10 years. Jiang Qingning exclaimed, somewhat incoherently. This is simply miraculous. Jiang Tianxiong stared at his revitalized skin and then at his reflection in the mirror, equally astonished. He had consumed countless longevity elixirs over the years, yet none had the effect of Qin Fan's simple cup of water. This was divine water, miraculous water. Not bad. Qin Fan nodded at Jiang Tianxiong's current appearance. With this, you should be able to live for another decade or so. Thank you, Qin, for your life-saving grace. Jiang Tianxiong couldn't help but kneel in gratitude before Qin Fan. That will do. It's late. I should be leaving. Qin Fan waved his hand, preparing to depart for Lin Qingyan's villa. Qin, please let me know your compensation. Jiang Tianxiong hurriedly spoke up. Compensation? Upon hearing this, Qin Fan pondered how much he should ask for. Money had no meaning to him. Every part-time job he took was merely to integrate into the mortal world and comprehend the Tao. Initially, Qin Fan valued money greatly due to his impoverished background. However, if he were to continue living as Qin Fan, it was necessary to maintain the appearance of a lover of money. Thus, he was conflicted about how much money to request. Qin Fan thought for a moment before suggesting 2 million. This was the amount Jiang Wenbin paid for the radish earlier. Considering the reaction of Lin's parents, Qin Fan deemed 2 million quite substantial. Only 2 million? Jiang Tianxiong and Jiang Qingning were dumbfounded upon hearing Qin Fan's offer. Wasn't that too cheap? Over the years, Jiang Tianxiong had spent at least 1 billion in pursuit of longevity. Yet, Qin Fan only asked for 2 million? Seeing the expressions of the two, Qin Fan realized he had asked for too little and thought to himself, indeed, I still don't quite understand the life of mortals. Immediately, he added, this is just the beginning. Upon hearing this, Jiang Tianxiong and Jiang Qingning felt that it made sense there would likely be further payments down the line. Qin, please give me your account number, and I'll transfer it to you. Jiang Qingning spoke up. Qin Fan naturally had a bank card, but it was left in the rental house. Since he came directly here with Lin Qingyan, he didn't bring it along. I forgot my card. I'll give it to you next time. Qin Fan replied. May I ask where you live, Qin? I can have someone deliver it directly to you. Jiang Tianxiong inquired. Just the peripheral area, around Villa number 5. Qin Fan provided Lin Qingyan's address. Villa number 5? Jiang Qingning furrowed her brows upon hearing this. Isn't that the residence of Lin Qingyan, the CEO of Elegant Media? Qin, are you and Miss Lin? Boyfriend and girlfriend. Qin Fan confirmed. I never expected that, Mr. Qin's girlfriend would be the renowned iceberg CEO of Jiang City, Lin Qingyan. Jiang Qingning chuckled. Do you know her? Qin Fan asked curiously. Elegant Media has had some cooperation with our Jiang group, so I've met her at some banquets. You could say we're acquainted. Jiang Qingning replied. I see. Qin Fan nodded before saying, it's getting late. I should go back. With that, Jiang Tianxiong and Jiang Qingning escorted Qin Fan out of the villa. Outside the villa, Chen Yao, who was waiting, was dumbfounded to see Jiang Tianxiong's rejuvenated appearance. Master, you look 10 years younger. Chen Yao exclaimed excitedly. It's all thanks to Mr. Qin. Jiang Tianxiong was in high spirits. Chen Yao looked at Qin Fan with admiration. Mr. Qin, let me escort you onto the boat. Jiang Qingning said as she led Qin Fan to the shore. Qin Fan glanced at the sky, realizing it was already dark. He hadn't expected to encounter so much today while out for a stroll. Indeed, integrating into the life of mortals seems rather challenging. Qin Fan sighed inwardly. He had initially believed that assimilating into mortal life would be straightforward, allowing him to comprehend the Tao amidst the mundane. However, it appeared to be more complex than he had anticipated. Mr. Qin, please board the boat. Jiang Qingning and Chen Yao started the speedboat and called out to Qin Fan. No need, it's too slow. Qin Fan responded. With that, he leaped into the air, taking advantage of the darkness and crossing to the opposite bank in an instant. Jiang Qingning and her group stood there, completely astonished. Chapter 9, This is like encountering a living immortal. Grandfather, Mr. Qin. Jiang Qingning suddenly realized, looking at her grandfather with pure astonishment. Sir, at the Grandmaster level, one can indeed use true Qi to protect the body and traverse water, but I've never seen anyone fly. Chen Yao, well versed in the martial arts world, expressed his awe. This is beyond Grandmaster level, this is akin to encountering a living immortal. Perhaps Mr. Qin has cultivated a certain kind of light skill. Jiang Tianxiong finally spoke, his lips twitching slightly. He had never seen a Grandmaster leap 400 or 500 meters. Jiang Qingning gazed across the lake, lost in thought. My dear girl, you don't fall short in any aspect compared to Lin Qingyan, Jiang Tianxiong remarked playfully, his eyes gleaming mischievously as he looked at Jiang Qingning. Jiang Qingning's face flushed immediately. Grandfather, what are you saying? Dear girl, Mr. Qin is bound to ascend to the Earth list. If Lin Qingyan's relationship with him isn't good, she can easily make him the son-in-law of the Jiang family, Jiang Tianxiong chuckled. Upon hearing this, Jiang Qingning pursed her lips and replied, Grandfather, I will strive my best. Very well, Jiang Tianxiong laughed heartily. Meanwhile, Qin Fan was completely unaware of the thoughts of the Jiang family grandfather and granddaughter by this time. He had already returned to Lin Qingyan's villa. However, as he approached the villa, he heard intense arguing from within. Lin Qingyan, given the situation at Xiuli, why are you still refusing to marry Jiang Wenbin? Do you want Xiuli to go bankrupt? You have no say in Xiuli's affairs. You ungrateful daughter. Your grandparents left the company to you, and this is how you squander it? It was fortunate that Wenbin reminded me to visit Xiuli today, otherwise, I wouldn't have known it was in such peril. I introduced you to Jiang Wenbin, who's a good match. Yet, you set your sights on that useless playboy. Qin Fan recognized the voices inside as Lin Qingyan and her stepmother, Su Shoujin, with Lin Qingyan's father, Lin Shanpin, trying to mediate. The argument that began during lunch continued into the evening. Qin Fan rang the doorbell. The arguing inside softened at the sound of the bell, and Mrs. Wang opened the door. Seeing Qin Fan, Mrs. Wang quickly said, Little Fan, come in quickly. Qin Fan entered the villa, and Su Shoujin, upon seeing him, widened her eyes in disbelief. Why are you here? Who let you in? Get out. Su Shoujin stood up and loudly questioned him. He is my boyfriend, and we are moving in together starting today. If anyone should leave, it's you. Lin Qingyan retorted loudly. Look at that, I told you earlier, this unfilial daughter has gone mad. She actually brought a wild man home. If word gets out, how will the Lin family stand in Zheng City? Su Shoujin seized the opportunity to criticize. He is my boyfriend and my future husband. Why should he hide? Lin Qingyan countered loudly. You see, this girl is still talking back. Is this how you talk to your parents? Su Shoujin shrieked. Parents? Are you even qualified to say that? If it weren't for your useless son, who couldn't inherit Xiuli, would my grandparents have left me there? When I returned, did you treat me with warmth? Did you even visit me when I was suffering in the orphanage? And now you dare to speak of parents? I find it nauseating. Lin Qingyan stared down Su Shoujin, her words sharper than at lunch, more direct, and more cutting off. Su Shoujin screamed, then turned to Lin Shanpin, shouting, Did you hear that? She called me nauseating. Aren't you going to defend your wife? Are you going to let your daughter speak to me like this? Stop arguing, stop arguing. We came here tonight to discuss company matters. Lin Shanpin hurriedly comforted Su Shoujin, then turned to Lin Qingyan and said, Qingyan, we're here to care about you. Look at Qin Fan, how is he fit to be your boyfriend? How can you live together with him? This is my business, and none of yours. Lin Qingyan showed no favor to her father. But, I truly don't understand how is Qin Fan superior to Jiang Wenbin. Moreover, he has pursued you for so long, which shows his sincerity. Why do you insist on seeing him in a negative light? Lin Shanpin asked with a gentle tone. He just wants to spite us and monopolize Xiuli, Su Shoujin immediately sneered. The Jiang family is influential. If you marry Jiang Wenbin, you'll receive investment, and Xiuli can overcome this crisis, Lin Shanpin earnestly advised. Please, focus on your wife and son, and think for a moment, is that son truly yours? Lin Qingyan's voice turned cold. You, how dare you speak like that? What do you mean by truly yours? Lin Shanpin became displeased. Who knows what this despicable woman is? Lin Qingyan continued. This is slander. Su Shoujin was so angry she was about to explode. Leave. This is my home. If you stay, I'll call security. Lin Qingyan showed no sign of fear as she spoke again. Qingyan, can't you speak nicely? I genuinely care about you, after all, you are my own daughter, Lin Shanpin said. I don't need it. You take care of yourself and don't be used as a tool, Lin Qingyan retorted coldly. In your eyes, is your father truly worthless? Lin Shanpin was exasperated. Grandfather, don't be angry, don't be angry. Mrs. just upset about company matters, so she said these things, Mrs. Yuan quickly tried to soothe. Let's go. Staying here is just enduring this unfilial daughter's anger. Su Xiuzhen gritted her teeth. Lin Shanpin looked at his daughter and finally got up and left, his departure deeply desolate. After they left, the atmosphere in the house became extremely oppressive. Lin Qingyan silently went upstairs, leaving Qin Fan and Mrs. Wang behind. Little Fan, on your first day here, you've witnessed quite a spectacle, Mrs. Wang said awkwardly. Qin Fan shook his head, indicating it was fine, but he couldn't help but think, is my part-time job a bit too complicated? But perhaps such complexity will help me integrate into the life of mortals more easily. Little Fan, come and have dinner. You must be hungry, Mrs. Wang invited Qin Fan. Okay, Qin Fan replied. As a Yuan infant stage cultivator, Qin Fan had long since transcended the need for food, but to maintain his guise as a mortal, he naturally had to eat. Mrs. Wang, your cooking is excellent, Qin Fan complimented as he ate the meal she prepared. I'm only useful in this way. If I could alleviate Mrs. worries, that would be even better, Mrs. Wang said helplessly. Qin Fan smiled at her words and then said, I noticed that Lin Qingyan hardly touched her food. Did she not eat? Ah, Miss probably doesn't have the heart to eat now. I'll take it up to her later, Mrs. Wang sighed. Is Shili Corporation in trouble right now? Qin Fan asked curiously. I've never seen Miss at such a loss before. It must be a particularly difficult hurdle, Mrs. Wang replied. I see, Qin Fan mused. Little Fan, if you could help Miss, that would be great, Mrs. Wang added. I don't understand business, Qin Fan replied. Mrs. Wang smiled and didn't say anything more. Qin Fan, put this on. Tonight, you're coming out with me for some socializing. However, at that moment, Lin Qingyan's voice suddenly sounded, momentarily stunning Qin Fan. Chapter 10, Investment. Qin Fan looked towards Lin Qingyan, who at this moment bore no resemblance to someone who had just engaged in a heated argument. Her demeanor and spirits appeared exceptionally well. Moreover, she had taken great care in her appearance. Her lustrous black hair was neatly styled, revealing her pristine jade neck. With her standard oval face, delicate features, and fresh allure, she exuded an aura of elegance, akin to that of a noble young lady. Clad in a tightly waisted gown, she epitomized grace and refinement, resembling a noblewoman of high pedigree. Qin Fan had encountered numerous beauties in the world of cultivation, yet he couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Even in the realm of cultivation, this woman would be considered exceptional. Why are you staring? Hurry up and change your clothes, Lin Qingyan said coldly upon noticing Qin Fan's gaze fixed on her. Qin Fan looked at the suit in Lin Qingyan's hand and asked, What do you want me to do? Accompany me to a social engagement, Lin Qingyan repeated. I haven't eaten yet, Qin Fan remarked, glancing at the untouched food on the table. There's plenty to eat there. Just grab a bite and hurry up to change your clothes, Lin Qingyan urged. I don't really want to go, Qin Fan replied. After a busy afternoon and witnessing a quarrel upon his return, he felt it was time for dinner, followed by a good rest, and then reflecting on his experiences of mortal life today. Hence, he was not inclined to go out the boyfriend agreement, remember. Lin Qingyan suddenly revealed a sweet smile, teasing Qin Fan. Qin Fan felt helpless. This was part of the contract, so he reluctantly took the suit from Lin Qingyan's hand and went upstairs to change. Ding ding ding. As soon as Qin Fan entered the room, his phone rang. Glancing at the unfamiliar number, he answered the call, thinking that to him, anyone calling would be an unknown number. Is this Mr. Qin? Came a sweet female voice from the other end. Jiang Qingning, Qin Fan recognized the voice's owner. How did you get my number? He hadn't given the Jiang family his phone number. Sorry, Mr. Qin, I didn't mean to investigate you, Jiang Qingning's voice sounded nervous. So you've been investigating me, Qin Fan replied with a half-smile. Suddenly, Jiang Qingning felt breathless on her end. Given the Jiang family's influence, investigating Qin Fan's information was a trivial matter. However, she was taken aback by the information she found, But she understood that everything was just a facade. This also indicated that Qin Fan didn't want others to investigate him. Would investigating him now anger Qin Fan? Whether you investigate or not, it doesn't matter. Why did you call me? Qin Fan spoke, noticing her unease. Well, I've decided to invest 50 million in your girlfriend's Xioli company as the first reward. Jiang Qingning breathed a sigh of relief, continuing to speak. 50 million, to invest in Xioli? Qin Fan was momentarily stunned. Yes, Xioli is currently facing financial difficulties and needs investment. I thought Mr. Qin wouldn't want any problems with his girlfriend's company, so I came up with this idea, Jiang Qingning explained. Upon hearing the explanation, Qin Fan couldn't help but laugh. What's wrong, Mr. Qin? Is it too little? I can add more. Jiang Qingning became nervous upon hearing Qin Fan's laughter, thinking that 50 million might be too little. No, it's fine as it is, Qin Fan smiled. Okay, I've made the arrangements. It will be settled tonight, Jiang Qingning said with relief, then chuckled in response to Qin Fan's words. Tonight? Qin Fan pondered for a moment. What's the matter? Jiang Qingning asked immediately. Nothing, let's leave it at that. I have something to attend to, Qin Fan replied before hanging up the phone. Then he quickly changed into the suit Lin Qingyan had prepared for him and went downstairs. What? Lin Qingyan was about to complain when she saw Qin Fan coming down. She wondered why he was taking so long to change clothes, but when she laid eyes on him, she was suddenly stunned. At this moment, Qin Fan seemed like a different person. Qin Fan was already extraordinary in appearance, with sharp features and a tall, slender figure. Due to his cultivation, he exuded an inexplicable otherworldly aura, making him seem like an ancient noble descendant stepping out of legend, exuding an indescribable sense of mystery and nobility. Lin Qingyan stared blankly at Qin Fan, feeling her heart inexplicably quickening. She had imagined that Qin Fan would look good in a different outfit, but now, this incredibly handsome man standing before her exceeded her expectations. Miss, your taste is truly exceptional. Little Fan is the most handsome man I've ever seen in my life. Those so-called celebrities can't hold a candle to him, Mrs. Wang, also stunned, remarked. At almost 60 years old, she had never seen such a handsome man. What are you staring at? The sooner we leave, the sooner we'll be back. Qin Fan said as he approached Lin Qingyan, his eyes twinkling. Lin Qingyan snapped out of her daze and retorted, Who's staring? Then the two of them walked out together. Miss and Mr. Qin, truly a perfect match, destined for each other, Mrs. Wang sighed as she watched them leave. Soon, Lin Qingyan and Qin Fan got into the car. Jiang Group has agreed to invest 50 million in Xioli. Tonight, the person in charge there invited me for a detailed discussion, Lin Qingyan explained the evening's events to Qin Fan in the car. As expected, Qin Fan understood upon hearing this. Tonight's arrangement was made by Jiang Qingning. What do you mean, as expected? Lin Qingyan, driving the car, asked in confusion. Nothing, Qin Fan didn't bother to elaborate on the matter. Instead, he said, why did you bring me along to discuss cooperation? It seems rather pointless. The person in charge there, who is also the vice president of Jiang Group's venture capital company, is my senior from university. He's been pursuing me relentlessly, quite annoying, Lin Qingyan explained. Another shield, Qin Fan immediately understood what was going on. Lin Qingyan nodded and said, now that you're my boyfriend, just going there tonight will make him give up. One Jiang Wenbin, now a senior, and my fake boyfriend for just one day, already acting as a shield twice. Life is truly not easy, Qin Fan commented. Upon hearing this, Lin Qingyan felt it might be a bit too much to ask for help twice in a row, so she said, in addition to your salary this month, I'll give you an extra 5,000 bonus. Is that okay? Sure, Qin Fan smiled and said, thank you, boss. And tonight, you can enjoy a big meal without any regrets, Lin Qingyan added. Money and food held no meaning for Qin Fan, but he felt experiencing this kind of life could be beneficial for understanding mortal emotions and comprehending the Tao. About half an hour later, Lin Qingyan drove the car into a high-end restaurant called Crescent Manor. As they got out of the car, Qin Fan felt a gentle arm wrap around his, and he looked over. As you said, acting requires authenticity to avoid breaking the illusion. Lin Qingyan's face blushed slightly, her eyes unable to meet Qin Fan's directly as she spoke somewhat shyly. Qin Fan nodded in agreement. That's right. Later, just focus on eating and don't say anything, Lin Qingyan reminded him. Okay, Xin Fan replied. Soon, the two entered a VIP room as planned, where a man dressed in Versace was already seated. Chapter 11, Have you convinced him? Xingyan, you're here. Upon seeing Lin Xingyan enter, the man immediately rose with a smiling face to greet her. However, upon seeing Lin Xingyan holding Xin Fan's hand, he suddenly stiffened. Senior Lu Rui, this is my boyfriend, Xin Fan. Lin Xingyan straightforwardly introduced Xin Fan to Lu Rui. Your boyfriend? Why haven't I heard anyone mention him before? Lu Rui quickly regained his composure and asked. Xin Fan has been out of town all along. He just arrived in Jiangxing today, so few people know about him. We met through online dating, Lin Xingyan calmly explained. Online dating, Lu Rui's eyes flickered upon hearing this, seeming to understand something. He then said, Come, have a seat first. It must be time for lunch. I'll have them bring the dishes. Xin Fan and Lin Xingyan took their seats, while Lu Rui sat opposite them. Soon, the dishes were served, and Xin Fan ate quietly as instructed by Lin Xingyan. Seeing Xin Fan burying himself in his meal, Lu Rui's eyes were filled with disdain indeed. No matter how good-looking one is on the outside, if the inner qualities are lacking, they are still rubbish. However, he couldn't be bothered with Xin Fan, so he turned to Lin Xingyan and said calmly, Xingyan, as you may know, Shuilami Media has encountered many problems recently. Many companies prefer to compensate rather than continue contracts with you. Moreover, many famous anchors and artists in your hands have chosen to switch jobs. Therefore, internally, the group does not see Shuilami as a worthy investment. Upon hearing this, Lin Xingyan's face showed a hint of embarrassment. Indeed, Shuilami Media had encountered the situation Lu Rui described, but the real reason was someone sabotaging from the outside, and internally, those old folks were also creating obstacles. It was a difficult situation both inside and out. Senior, you should know my capabilities. As long as we secure this 50 million, Shuilami will surely overcome this hurdle, and we won't disappoint Jiangshi Group either, Lin Xingyan said firmly. I've known you for 7 years. I naturally don't doubt your abilities. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible for you to double Shuilami's market value within 3 years and become the hotshot female CEO in Jiangcheng. Lu Rui praised Lin Xingyan with admiration in his eyes. Senior, so about this investment? Lin Xingyan asked cautiously. Xingyan, there's considerable opposition within the group regarding this 50 million investment. But since I've invited you, I'm confident, Lu Rui smiled at Lin Xingyan. Senior, what are your conditions? Please tell me, Lin Xingyan continued to inquire. There's no rush for that. Let's eat first, Lu Rui continued with a smile. Senior, it's better to clarify the most important matters first, Lin Xingyan urged. Upon hearing this, Lu Rui spoke up, Xingyan, there's significant opposition within the group, so I went to see Miss Jiang personally and persuaded her. That's why we have this cooperation. When Xin Fan heard this, he paused with his chopsticks and looked at Lu Rui with curiosity. You persuaded her? What? Do you doubt my ability? Lu Rui heard Xin Fan's words and immediately looked at him disdainfully. Upon hearing Xin Fan speak up, Lin Xingyan quickly nudged him with her foot and gave him a stern look, signaling him not to speak too much. Then she said, Senior, he doesn't understand these matters. Please disregard. Seeing Lin Xingyan's reaction, Xin Fan didn't explain and continued eating. Humph, is he a glutton reincarnated? Lu Rui said with extreme disdain upon seeing Xin Fan eating again. After saying that, he stood up, seeming to leave. You, Senior? Lin Xingyan saw Lu Rui standing up to leave and felt a bit anxious. Cooperation is a business secret. Do you want an outsider to eavesdrop? Lu Rui asked displeasedly. Upon hearing this, Lin Xingyan was slightly taken aback. Indeed, it made sense. So she said, then let's continue our discussion in the nearby tea room. Lu Rui nodded, let's go. Immediately, the two left the VIP room. Did Jiang Qingning arrange this so trouble comes? Xin Fan watched the two leave, feeling somewhat strange. Then, he released his consciousness to lock onto the two. Meanwhile, Lin Xingyan and Lu Rui entered the nearby tea room. Lu Rui sat on the sofa, and Lin Xingyan prepared to sit opposite him. Xingyan, sit here, Lu Rui patted the space beside him. Seeing this, Lin Xingyan frowned slightly. Although she didn't want to, she still sat next to Lu Rui, controlling some distance, all for the sake of securing this crucial investment. Is that Xin Fan really your boyfriend? Lu Rui smiled and asked Lin Qingyan. Of course, Qin Fan came to Jiangqing this time to marry me, Lin Qingyan said very calmly. The relationship between her and Qin Fan must not be revealed to anyone according to the contract. You misunderstood me. I'm asking if you really like him? Lu Rui smiled and asked, I know your standards. Have you ever seen anyone eating like that in such a high-class restaurant? It's like a country bumpkin. With your standards, you must look down on such a person, especially from an online relationship. So, I don't know where you found a country bumpkin, a moron, to fool me. Isn't this too disrespectful to me, Mr. Lu? Lu Rui questioned Lin Qingyan while criticizing Qin Fan. This made Lin Qingyan's face look very ugly, but she still remained calm and said, Senior, while Qin Fan indeed has many shortcomings in your eyes, he has various merits in mine. He is the one I have chosen to marry, so I hope you can respect him. Besides, he has nothing to do with this cooperation. Respect? Nothing to do? Lu Rui sneered, Lin Qingyan, you've misunderstood one thing. In this society, only those willing to shell out 50 million are worthy of your respect. With that, Lu Rui suddenly leaned closer to Lin Qingyan, placing his hands on her shoulders and forcibly pressing her against the sofa. Senior, what are you doing? Let go of me. Lin Qingyan panicked. You're still as beautiful as ever. Lu Rui intoxicatedly looked at Lin Qingyan up close, sniffing her lingering fragrance, and said intoxicatedly. Senior, let go of me, what are you doing? Lin Qingyan kept struggling, but as a woman, she couldn't break free at all. Qingyan, you know how I feel about you. I'll tell you the truth. The 50 million contract is in my bag. And, I'll tell you another thing, this contract has a follow-up. The amount of the follow-up depends on your performance. Lu Rui stared straight into Lin Qingyan's eyes, his eyes filled with greed. Can you let me go first? Let's talk properly. Lin Qingyan didn't dare to provoke Lu Rui, trying to remain calm. In fact, we don't need to talk as long as you're willing to spend a night with me. You can take the contract immediately, and there's also additional investment afterward, all for you. Isn't it very cost-effective? Lu Rui smiled at Lin Qingyan. Chapter 12, The Trials of Mortals. Lin Qingyan gazed at Lu Rui, unable to fathom how this elegant senior could utter such shameless words. In an instant, she felt an extreme aversion towards him. Do not even think about it. Release me, or I'll call the police. Lin Qingyan's voice turned cold as she sternly rebuked him. How amusing. I adore your resistance. The more you resist, the more exhilarated I become. Lu Rui's excitement escalated. Pervert. Lin Qingyan's patience reached its limit. Suddenly, she lifted her foot and aimed a kick at Lu Rui's vitals. Ah! Lu Rui let out a miserable cry, clutching his groin in agony, grimacing as he hopped around. Freed from his grasp, Lin Qingyan immediately stood up, preparing to flee. However, Lu Rui reacted swiftly, grabbing her and tossing her aside. Lin Qingyan screamed in pain as she fell to the ground. Despicable wretch! Dare to kick me? Are you willing to forfeit 50 million? Lu Rui's face twisted into a malicious sneer as he addressed Lin Qingyan. Even if I were bankrupt, I would never yield to you. Lin Qingyan's eyes reddened with anger as she stared at Lu Rui defiantly. Arrogant fool. Just because you've been kept by the old man Lin, and have been hailed as the Ice Queen CEO for a few years, you think highly of yourself? Lu Rui's voice was cold and disdainful. What are you saying? Lin Qingyan retorted loudly upon hearing his words. What? You, a woman raised in an orphanage, caught the old man Lin's eye not because of your virtue but because of your looks and bedroom skills. You really think outsiders believe you're his granddaughter? Don't be naive. In others' eyes, you're just a kept woman. Lu Rui's words were extremely offensive. For a mere 50 million, I'll sleep with you once, considering it a favor. Don't overestimate yourself. Lu Rui's vile words were unbearable to Lin Qingyan. Trembling with rage, Lin Qingyan heard these words and couldn't help but shake. She was a bastard child, raised outside the Lin family, her mother deceased, and herself sent to an orphanage. She had worked tirelessly, studying constantly, to earn respect, not money. Her efforts had paid off, earning her grandfather's recognition and respect, leading to her return to the Lin family. 5 years ago, after her grandfather's passing, she became the CEO of Shuilamai, leading it to prosperity. Yet, in the eyes of others, her achievements were belittled in such a contemptible manner. If sacrificing her integrity for Shuilamai meant enduring this, she would rather die. Seeing Lin Qingyan in this state, Lu Rui's predatory instincts kicked in, and he lunged at her, pinning her to the ground. "Let go of me! Get off me!" Lin Qingyan yelled desperately, "Scream all you want. The soundproofing here is excellent, no one will come to save you." Lu Rui's excitement grew as he restrained Lin Qingyan, who could only scream tearfully. Meanwhile, Lin Qingyan's eyes darted towards Qin Fan, hope flashing fleetingly. "Scream all you want. The more you scream, the more excited I get." Lu Rui's actions grew increasingly frenzied. Lin Qingyan, a frail woman, was no match for Lu Rui, a towering figure. She could only scream in tearful agony as Lu Rui's frenzy escalated. "Help! Someone, help me!" Lin Qingyan screamed frantically. In that moment, Qin Fan's body suddenly lifted Lu Rui into the air. "Qin Fan?" Lin Qingyan cried out, tears streaming down her face. Qin Fan held Lu Rui by the collar, effortlessly hoisting him off the ground. "What's going on?" Qin Fan asked with a puzzled expression. Earlier, Jiang Qingning had informed him that everything had been arranged. However, Lu Rui claimed to have spoken to Jiang Qingning and then came here to negotiate. It seemed suspicious, so he used his divine sense to monitor them, witnessing the unfolding drama. Was Jiang's arrangement this abnormal? "You scoundrel! Let go of me!" Lu Rui cursed at Qin Fan. "This is Jiangcheng, not where you can act recklessly. Believe it or not, I'll make one call and have you thrown into the river to feed the fish." Upon hearing this, Qin Fan threw Lu Rui aside, slamming him against the wall. "Ah!" Lu Rui let out a cry of pain as he slumped to the ground, blood streaming from his mouth, several teeth knocked out. He scrambled to his feet, glaring at Qin Fan. "You're doomed! You're dead! How dare you hit me!" With that, he charged at Qin Fan, grabbing a chair and swinging it viciously. But Qin Fan effortlessly slapped it away. "Ah!" Lu Rui screamed again, his mouth full of blood and teeth. Qin Fan approached him, delivering several kicks, causing Lu Rui to howl in agony. After beating him, Qin Fan turned to Lin Qingyan. "Let's go." As Lin Qingyan snapped out of her daze, she rushed to Qin Fan's side, feeling an overwhelming sense of security. Without a word, Qin Fan led Lin Qingyan away. "Lin Qingyan, you're finished. You're absolutely finished. Tomorrow, watch Shuilamai go bankrupt." Lu Rui, now standing, shouted after them. Lin Qingyan paid him no heed, ignoring his threats as she and Qin Fan exited the tea house. "Lin Qingyan, if you dare take one step out of here with this boy, tomorrow, Shuilamai will be finished," Lu Rui shouted as they left. Lin Qingyan stopped in her tracks, prompting Qin Fan to halt as well. "Scared, aren't you? I'm the Deputy General Manager of the Investment Department at Zhang Corporation. If you leave now, you're both doomed," Lu Rui continued to shout. Fearing the consequences, Lin Qingyan and Qin Fan stopped. "Are you afraid? I am the Deputy General Manager of the Investment Department at Zhang Corporation. Now kneel down and apologize." Lu Rui yelled arrogantly, "And you, Lin Qingyan, behave yourself. I'll humiliate you in front of your boyfriend," he added. "You vile creature." Lin Qingyan cursed at Lu Rui. "What do you suggest? Should we eliminate him?" Qin Fan asked Lin Qingyan. Startled, Lin Qingyan hesitated. "Murder? That would lead to prison. It wasn't worth it for someone like him." "Murder? We'd end up in prison." "It's not worth it for someone like him," Lin Qingyan quickly replied. "Then let's go," Qin Fan said. If they weren't going to kill him, there was no point in wasting any more time. Without another word to Lu Rui, they left the tea house. "Lin Qingyan, you're finished. You're absolutely finished. Tomorrow, watch Shuilamai go bankrupt." Lu Rui's voice echoed from inside. Chapter 13. She Dares Not. "Do you worry that Jiang Qingning will retaliate against you and me?" Qin Fan inquired. Of course, Jiang Qingning is the foremost socialite in Jiangcheng, and the Jiang family is influential. If Lu Rui truly manages to persuade Jiang Qingning, the trouble will be immense, Lin Qingyan expressed with deep concern. Nearly one-third of Jiangcheng's industries belong to the Jiang family, and Jiang Qingning, as the heiress, is the sole successor of the Jiang family. Therefore, Jiang Qingning is hailed as the premier socialite of Jiangcheng, the top female CEO, with countless young elites vying for her attention. The Jiang family is not to be trifled with. Just now, Xin Fan intervened with Lu Rui. Given Lu Rui's perverse nature, he is surely seeking retribution, and by now, he has likely complained to Jiang Qingning. However, Lin Qingyan never expected Jiang Qingning to approach Xin Fan so quickly. No need to worry, Jiang Qingning dares not, Xin Fan reassured. Dares not? Lin Qingyan looked at Xin Fan strangely upon hearing the phrase. If Jiang Qingning cannot, Lin Qingyan would understand. But dares not? That, she could not fathom. Yes, she absolutely dares not. Rest assured, Xin Fan affirmed. Why are you so confident? Lin Qingyan asked. Because she fears me, Xin Fan stated. She fears you? Lin Qingyan rolled her eyes at the remark. You're quite the braggart. I speak the truth, Xin Fan replied. Upon hearing this, Lin Qingyan shook her head. Xin Fan had left a good impression on her because he had saved her earlier. However, his boastfulness had somewhat diminished that impression. Jiang Qingning might have people in Jiangcheng who fear her, but Lin Qingyan was certain that Xin Fan was not one of them. Lin Qingyan sighed. We'll have to mortgage the Xiaoli building. Let's weather this crisis for now. Xin Fan observed Lin Qingyan's reaction and knew she did not believe his words. He saw no need to explain. After all, they were not truly in a romantic relationship. Therefore, his relationship with Jiang Qingning and the Jiang family had no bearing on Lin Qingyan. Meanwhile, in the emergency room of a private hospital in Jiangcheng, Lu Rui, bloodied and missing teeth, was receiving treatment at this moment. Jiang Qingning entered, her expression frosty, accompanied by Chen Yao. Miss. Lu Rui was so excited to see Jiang Qingning that he could barely speak coherently. He never expected the young lady to visit him in person. However, Jiang Qingning's voice was icy as she demanded, why did the investment agreement with Xiaoli fail? Miss, Xiaoli is not a worthy investment. Even if Lin Qingyan is my junior, I would never sign an agreement that undermines the interests of the group. Moreover, Lin Qingyan brought her boyfriend Xin Fan to attack me and threaten me, but I did not yield. For the sake of the group's interests, no matter what methods they use, I will not compromise. Lu Rui declared, his voice filled with righteousness. Jiang Qingning's face turned even colder as she asked, so, it failed? Not only did it fail, but Xin Fan also became angry and attacked you? Failed? Xin Fan? Lu Rui paused for a moment, then continued, that's right, Missy did not fail in my mission. I safeguarded the interests of the group, and Lin Qingyan's fate is sealed. Jiang Qingning's cold tone cut through the air. You may leave. Leave? Lu Rui felt that something was amiss, but he didn't dwell on it. Miss, I'll leave after I've recovered from my treatment. Treatment? Jiang Qingning sneered. Chen Yao, treat him. Yes, miss. Chen Yao replied. With that, he delivered a punch to Lu Rui's face. Ah! Lu Rui cried out in pain as his nose collapsed from the blow. Then, Chen Yao struck Lu Rui's face with a series of heavy slaps, causing his face to swell, and knocking out the newly repaired teeth. Why are you hitting me, Yao Ji? Lu Rui covered his face, trembling in fear, looking at Chen Yao with a terrified expression. Lu Rui, I'm sparing your life by not killing you. Now, get out of here. If I find out tomorrow that you're still in Jiangcheng, don't blame me for feeding you to the fish in the river. Chen Yao's voice was cold as he spoke. After his declaration, Chen Yao and Jiang Qingning left. Lu Rui stood there dumbfounded, unable to comprehend how he had ended up in this situation. He didn't understand. Didn't he save the Jiang family 50 million yuan? After leaving the hospital, Jiang Qingning and Chen Yao got into a Rolls-Royce. Worthless, incompetent. Jiang Qingning exploded as soon as she got into the car, angrily pounding on the seat to vent her frustration. I arranged such an opportunity, and Lu Rui completely ruined it. Jiang Qingning knew that Lu Rui was Lin Qingyan's senior, so she had specifically arranged this investment scheme. She hoped that Lu Rui would win Lin Qingyan's heart with 50 million yuan in subsequent investments, thus freeing up Xin Fan. Then, she could become Xin Fan's official girlfriend. However, everything had gone awry. Not only had the plan failed, but her cold response to Xin Fan's query, you go ask him, had also set her heart pounding. She had angered Xin Fan. Miss, we must handle this matter quickly. Otherwise, if we anger Mr. Xin, we won't be able to bear the consequences, Qinyao said, his heart trembling with fear after learning the whole story. Increase the investment amount to 1 billion, and handle it yourself. We can't afford any more mishaps, Zhang Qingning instructed Qinyao. What about Mr. Xin? We need to apologize to him as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm afraid. Qinyao asked immediately. Money might be trivial to the Zhang family, but even with billions, they couldn't afford to provoke a powerhouse like Qinfan. Tomorrow, I'll personally handle Mr. Xin's affairs, Zhang Qingning declared, her plan already forming in her mind the next day, at the Mirror Lake Garden. Since the cooperation with the Zhang family had fallen through, Lin Qingyan hurried to the company early in the morning. She had to continue her efforts to attract investments. Qinfan, on the other hand, had just finished his cultivation in his room, his expression tinged with disappointment. The aura of death arises from slaughter. To thoroughly refine it, it seems I need to complement it with the right state of mind and understanding of the Tao. Yesterday, there had been a change in his mental state near Mirror Lake, and he had gained some insights. This allowed him to refine 1/10 of his protective aura. If he could refine all of it, not only would his protective aura undergo a qualitative change, but his cultivation would. Chapter 14 Apology. What's the matter? Qinfan inquired upon hearing Zhang Qingning's words. About last night, I'm truly sorry. Therefore, I hope Mr. Qin can give me an opportunity to apologize. I'm right at the entrance. Zhang Qingning explained immediately. Last night's events hadn't concerned Qinfan at all, but since the other party had brought it up, he responded, very well. Soon, Qinfan stepped out of the villa and saw a Ferrari parked not far away, with a gorgeously dressed beauty leaning against it, waiting for him. This person was none other than Zhang Qingning. Zhang Qingning had deliberately dressed up today. Her already outstanding appearance was further enhanced by meticulous grooming, making her even more stunning. Just by looks alone, Zhang Qingning and Lin Qingyan were undoubtedly on par. Upon seeing Qinfan approaching, Zhang Qingning immediately flashed a charming smile. With such beauty, there was hardly a man in Jiangcheng who could resist. Mr. Qin, take a look at this. After Qinfan approached, Zhang Qingning handed him a stack of documents. Qinfan casually flipped through the documents, finding a delicate gold card inside engraved with a dragon and numbered 001. Credit card? Qinfan asked. Strictly speaking, it's not a credit card, but the Zhang family dragon card. By holding this dragon card, Mr. Qin can enjoy the highest level of treatment within the Zhang Group's industries, all free of charge. Moreover, this card has an annual limit of 1 billion, allowing Mr. Qin to spend freely anywhere, and all expenses are covered by our Zhang Group. This card is our apology for last night's incident, Mr. Qin. Just a signature is needed, Zhang Qingning explained the purple gold dragon card to Qinfan, while handing him a pen. Qinfan took the pen and signed his name on the document. After seeing Qinfan sign, Zhang Qingning breathed a sigh of relief as Qinfan pocketed the gold card. Then, she smoothed her hair in front of Qinfan, a simple gesture that expressed Zhang Qingning's otherworldly, ethereal, and charming temperament. Is there anything else? Qinfan asked after accepting the card, noticing Zhang Qingning's hesitation to leave upon hearing this. Zhang Qingning was momentarily stunned, thinking to herself, he remains unmoved? Zhang Qingning's slight movement just now had captivated many men in Jiangcheng. Typically, a man would propose an invitation at this point. But the fact that he remained unaffected left Zhang Qingning unsure how to proceed. And no, there isn't, Zhang Qingning replied. Then you may leave, Qinfan said. Mr. Qin, goodbye, Zhang Qingning said to Qinfan before getting into her car and driving away. Inside the car, Zhang Qingning called Zhang Tianxiong's phone, excitedly exclaiming, Grandpa, Mr. Qin accepted the Zhang family dragon card. Really? Zhang Tianxiong responded, equally excited. Yes, Mr. Qin didn't even read any of the terms, he just signed it, Zhang Qingning immediately reported. Excellent, truly excellent. With this, our Zhang family has invited a grandmaster, Zhang Tianxiong rejoiced. This Zhang family dragon card was a collaboration with all the banks in Xia country. Once the contract was signed, Qinfan's relationship with the Zhang family would enter the Xia country system. With just one check, anyone could clearly see the relationship between Qinfan and the Zhang Group. To anyone, the relationship between Qinfan and the Zhang family would seem extremely intimate. Even if the card was maxed out, it was only 1 billion, which was just a few days' income for a conglomerate worth over 100 billion. Moreover, the Jiang family was not afraid of Qin Fan maxing out the card, they were afraid he wouldn't. As long as he swiped the card, it meant he was accepting the Jiang family's favor. When the Jiang family needed help, Qin Fan wouldn't stand idly by. It was a huge gain to invite a grandmaster with just 1 billion. However, dear, you still need to be careful. If Mr. Qin finds out about this and thinks we're deceiving him, it will be difficult for our Jiang family to withstand his anger. Jiang Tianxiang expressed some concern. Grandpa, I showed him all the terms. He signed it without looking, so it's not considered deceit on my part. Besides, when the time comes, we can proactively terminate the contract. Mr. Qin won't have much to say then, Jiang Qingning replied with a smile. Good, 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 Jiang Tianxiang said 3 goods in a row, then added, truly my granddaughter. However, such binding is not yet firm. You must capture him before he marries Lin Xinyan. Grandpa, you can rest assured. Mr. Qin is indeed a grandmaster, but he's also a 25-year-old man. Jiang Qingning smiled enchantingly as she looked at the rearview mirror of the car. However, in the instant Jiang Qingning glanced at the rearview mirror, her eyes suddenly flickered. She saw 2 cars heading towards Qin Fan's villa. In Qin Fan's room at Lin Xingyan's villa, he held the golden dragon card. Feeling somewhat amused with his divine sense, he instantly scanned all the terms on those documents. However, he didn't care. He had signed it, treating it as an experience of mortal life. Besides, being given 1 billion for free, according to Qin Fan's personality, he wouldn't refuse. Bring. At this moment, Qin Fan's phone rang. He put away the card and took out his phone, seeing Zhao Shuangshuan's name displayed. After searching his memory for a moment and confirming Zhao Shuangshuan's identity, Qin Fan answered the call. Qin Fan, today is the gathering of our batch of interns, at Jiangshang Mingyue House. Are you coming? A somewhat impatient female voice came through the phone. Zhao Shuangshuan, the original Qin Fan's university classmate. Because of his admiration for her, he interned at the same hospital as her, hoping for some cohabitation. But according to his memory, the original Qin Fan was Zhao Shuangshuan's lackey. After a moment's thought, Qin Fan realized this was another opportunity to experience mortal life, so he replied, sure. I've informed everyone. Don't forget, Zhao Shuangshuan responded before hanging up. After hanging up the phone, Qin Fan changed into his usual clothes and went downstairs. Downstairs, he didn't see Wang Shen, who should have gone out to buy groceries. Ding dong. Just then, the doorbell rang abruptly. Qin Fan went over and opened the door, only to see 5 people outside, with Jiang Wenbin at the forefront. Chapter 15, Inheritance Ends. You dare to live here? Jiang Wenbin looked at Qin Fan, who had opened the door, his expression fierce and his voice sharp. Jiang Wenbin had always thought that Qin Fan was just playing house with Lin Xingyan, and it would end in a few days. But then, yesterday, Su Xiuzhen suddenly contacted him, saying that Lin Xingyan and Qin Fan were living together. This was not just about wearing a cuckold's hat anymore, it was like planting a grassland on his head. This instantly annoyed him, so he brought people over. So, young Master Jiang, are you planning to make a move? Qin Fan looked calmly at Jiang Wenbin and his men. I'm not one for violence, but dealing with a country bumpkin like you requires direct action. Of course, I can give you a chance to crawl under my crotch and never come near Qingyan again. I can spare you the agony. Jiang Wenbin said coldly. As he spoke, the 4 men accompanying him clenched their fists, making a crackling sound. These 4 were the best bodyguards of the Jiang family, all retired special forces soldiers, each capable of taking on 7 or 8 men. Seeing this, Qin Fan sighed. He suddenly had a feeling that mortal life sometimes required violence to resolve. So, he took a step forward and acted first. Bang, 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 bang. Then came 4 dull thuds, and Jiang Wenbin's 4 bodyguards were sent flying, crashing heavily into the garden outside the door, lying on the ground and groaning in pain. In an instant, Qin Fan had dealt with the 4 bodyguards from the Jiang family. Jiang Wenbin was dumbfounded at the scene. He didn't understand what had just happened. Why were the bodyguards, whom the Jiang family had paid dearly for, so easily defeated? Qin Fan turned to Jiang Wenbin and spoke, I've shown restraint, but you insisted on resorting to violence, so I had no choice but to respond in kind. I'm telling you, I'm the young master of the Jiang family, not someone you can touch. Jiang Wenbin's expression turned to one of horror. Smack! Xin Fan naturally ignored him and slapped him, knocking Jiang Wenbin to the ground, several teeth falling out from the force. Then, Xin Fan raised his foot to kick Jiang Wenbin in the crotch, deciding to permanently solve Lin Qingyan's troubles. "Mr. Qin, please spare him." However, at this moment, a hurried voice came from nearby. But even after this voice sounded, Xin Fan did not stop, still aiming his kick at Jiang Wenbin's crotch. "Ah!" Jiang Wenbin let out a miserable cry, clutching his crotch and rolling on the ground in agony, tears streaming down his face. At this moment, not far away, Jiang Qingning got out of the Ferrari and hurried over. Seeing Jiang Wenbin rolling on the ground, she shook her head helplessly. This idiot, how could he provoke Xin Fan? What's going on? Is there anything else? Xin Fan saw Jiang Qingning returning and immediately asked. "I just saw a car coming over and was worried that something might happen here, so I came back to check." "I didn't expect." Jiang Qingning explained. When Jiang Wenbin heard Jiang Qingning's voice, he immediately looked at her, as if seeing a savior, and pleaded, Miss Jiang, please save me." "This guy, he..." "Shut up. Mr. Xin is not someone you can provoke." Jiang Qingning said coldly. "Why do you two know each other?" Xin Fan asked. "The Jiang family and the Jiang family were considered one family several generations ago. Now, the Jiang family is a vassal family of our Jiang family." Jiang Qingning explained somewhat awkwardly. "Then I leave it to you to handle." Xin Fan said. "May I ask, how did Mr. Jiang Wenbin offend Mr. Xin?" Jiang Qingning asked cautiously. "You can ask him." Xin Fan said. "Miss Jiang, please save me, save me. It's him, he hit me, he stole my fiancée." Jiang Wenbin cried out to Jiang Qingning. "Him? How to save him? Make Xin Fan wipe out the Jiang family?" Just when the Jiang family had bound this grandmaster, their next family had offended him. Jiang Qingning really wanted to kick Jiang Wenbin to death right now. But now it seemed that Xin Fan didn't seem to care much about this matter either. She also breathed a sigh of relief, then took out her phone, contacted the people from the Jiang family, sent Jiang Wenbin to the hospital, and went to see the people from the Jiang family herself. After everyone left, Wang Shen came back with a bag of vegetables, a smile on her face, muttering to herself, "Xiao Fan turned out to be so powerful. Miss has a good eye." Meanwhile, in the president's office of the beautiful tower in Jiangcheng Commercial District, Lin Qingyan put down the phone wearily. She had come to the company early this morning to seek mortgage loans from banks, but none of them were willing to lend to her. Of course, she knew that someone was targeting her behind her back during this time. Just at this moment, the office door was rudely pushed open, and then two people walked in, one man and one woman. The woman was dressed beautifully, and the man was handsome and outstanding. When Lin Qingyan saw the two coming in, her face suddenly turned cold as she spoke. "It's working hours now. Why did you, Yuan, Lu Jianghe, come in without permission? This violates company regulations." "President Lin, we're here to..." Chapter 16, A Billion Given Away. Since Mr. Lin is clear in his mind, Yuan said with a bright smile. Wind Media, a media company that emerged a year ago, has exactly the same business model as Xioli, but it has poached many artists and anchors from Xioli at high prices, while also snatching away a lot of business. It's not that Xioli and Lin Qingyan are inferior to Wind Media, but Wind Media is too unscrupulous in its actions, using all sorts of underhanded and even illegal means, making it difficult for Lin Qingyan to cope. Mr. Lin, I've been with Xioli for 3 years. Naturally, I have feelings, especially for Mr. Lin. If Mr. Lin really wants me to stay, it's not impossible. Lu Jianghe spoke at this moment, handing Lin Qingyan a card as he talked. As long as Mr. Lin is sincere, we can discuss a new contract tonight. Lin Qingyan's face immediately showed anger. It was a room card from a 5-star hotel. The meaning was obvious. You two, go to the legal department to handle the procedures. Lin Qingyan threw the room card back, speaking coldly. Mr. Lin, if I leave, Xioli will be finished. Lu Jianghe still had a faint smile on his face. Are you really sure you want to drive me away? Get lost. Lin Qingyan scolded with a cold face. If I can cultivate you two, I can cultivate others. Mr. Lin, we'll see. Yuan mocked. Mr. Lin, I'm really looking forward to how you'll come begging me to return to Xioli. Lu Jianghe still had a smile on his face as he spoke. With that, the two turned and walked away. Bang! Just then, the office door was pushed open, and Lin Qingyan's assistant Guiya rushed in frantically. Mr. Lin, it's bad, Chen Yao is here. Guiya came in and shouted in a hurry. Du Yuner and Lu Jianghe stopped in their tracks upon hearing Guiya's words, ready to stay and watch the show. Chen Yao? Who is that? Lin Qingyan asked Guiya puzzledly. Chen Yao is the assistant of Miss Jiang Qingning from the Jiang Group. Lu Jianghe looked at Lin Qingyan with some teasing in his eyes. Lin Qingyan immediately looked at Guiya. Mr. Lin, Chen Yao is from the Jiang Group. He said he's here on behalf of someone from the Jiang Group to see you. Guiya said with great concern. Mr. Lin, you have quite the prestige. Chen Yao, a figure like him, is not easily seen in Jiangcheng. Last night, Mr. Lin did something earth-shattering, which even alarmed someone like Chen Yao. Du Yuner couldn't help but mock. Mr. Lin, it seems no one can save you this time. Lu Jianghe sneered. Lin Qingyan's expression immediately became serious. She understood that Chen Yao must be here because of last night's incident. She hadn't expected that Lu Rui had really angered Jiang Qingning, but no matter what, she had to deal with it. Soon, Chen Yao walked in with a briefcase, wearing a smile on his face. Mr. Lin, hello. Chen Yao immediately walked up to Lin Qingyan politely. Mr. Chen, hello. Lin Qingyan tried to stabilize her emotions and responded, You're here about last night's matter, right? Mr. Lin, indeed, I'm here because of last night's incident. Chen Yao nodded immediately. Du Yuner and Lu Jianghe immediately showed expressions of anticipation. This was a visit to hold someone accountable. Lin Qingyan and Xiaoli were finished. The Jiang Group's assets were in the billions, and destroying Xiaoli would be a piece of cake. The two were glad they terminated their contracts in time. Last night's incident had its reasons. Lin Qingyan explained hastily. Mr. Lin, regardless of the reasons last night, Lu Rui offended you. So, I'm here this time to apologize on behalf of the Jiang Group. As soon as Chen Yao heard this, he immediately spoke up with his words. Everyone present was dumbfounded, wondering if they had misheard. Lin Qingyan was also stunned, looking at Chen Yao in disbelief. She thought Chen Yao had come to hold her accountable, but he was here to apologize. Mr. Lin, please take a look. This is the investment agreement we've drafted. If there's anything unsatisfactory, please let me know. I'll have the group discuss it internally and try to meet all of Mr. Lin's demands as much as possible. Chen Yao continued speaking and took out a document from his briefcase, handing it to Lin Qingyan. Lin Qingyan took the document, quickly skimmed through it, and then exclaimed in astonishment, You want to invest 1 billion in Xiaoli? And without any additional conditions? Lin Qingyan was truly stunned. The contents of this document were simple. The Jiang Group wanted to give 1 billion to Xiaoli, without any additional conditions. It was like giving away 1 billion for free. Lu Jianghe and Du Yuner looked at Chen Yao as if they had seen a ghost. Was it reported last night that the deputy head of investment of the Jiang Group was beaten by Lin Qingyan's boyfriend, which greatly angered Miss Jiang? Now, what's going on? Why are they investing? And it's for free. Once this investment is made, Xiaoli will be associated with the Jiang Group, and will receive a large amount of resources from the Jiang Group in the future. Although the Jiang Group does not have a media company, the resources are there. With the resources of the Jiang Group, even second or third-rate celebrity artists can be made. The two became somewhat anxious. If they leave Xiaoli, they won't have access to these resources. Mr. Chen, are you sure? Wasn't it your deputy head of investment who was beaten by Mr. Lin's man last night? Du Yuner couldn't help but ask. Mr. Lin, who is this person? When Chen Yao heard someone mention Qin Fan hitting Lu Rui, his face immediately turned cold. She used to be an artist of Xiaoli, but she has already terminated her contract. Lin Qingyan immediately spoke. Why did she stay here after terminating her contract? Chen Yao asked Du Yuner coldly. Moreover, since the Jiang Group is cooperating with Mr. Lin, what right does an artist like you have to speak? What he was most worried about regarding last night's incident was that it would spread. He was genuinely afraid of angering Qin Fan. And this person keeps bringing it up. Is she looking for trouble? Du Yun'er's face turned pale instantly. Mr. Chun. Lu Jianghe also spoke at this moment. But as soon as he spoke, Lin Qingyan's voice came, Du Yuner, Lu Jianghe, get out, don't hinder my cooperation with Mr. Chun. You two are just entertainers for amusement, not qualified to speak to me. Get out and don't hinder me from discussing cooperation with Mr. Lin. Chen Yao also spoke in a domineering tone. Such entertainers, who were raised up by others but had no real talent, were the lowest of the low in Chen Yao's eyes, not even worthy of speaking to him. Upon hearing this, Du Yuner and Lu Jianghe slunk out of Lin Qingyan's office. What's wrong with Jianghe? Du Yuner left Xiuli and anxiously asked Lu Jianghe. Today, they must have offended Lin Qingyan. Now that Xiuli is cooperating with the Jiang group, as long as Lin Qingyan is willing, she can completely use this relationship to suppress them. I'll call Sister Zhou and ask. Lu Jianghe immediately took out his phone and dialed Sister Zhou's number. Baby, did the termination go smoothly? There was immediately a sultry voice on the other end of the phone. Sister Zhou, it's like this. Lu Jianghe then recounted the matter. The Jiang group? Sister Zhou sounded disdainful. Baby, don't worry, you can come to Fengxing with peace of mind. This bitch Lin Qingyan can't touch you. Chapter 17, Car Accident. After seeing off Chen Yao, Lin Qingyan felt like she was in a dream. The collaboration with Jiangshi Group this time marked not just an investment, but the beginning of a partnership between Xiuli and Jiangshi Group. Returning to her CEO chair, Lin Qingyan began to review everything. Despite being a very intelligent woman, she couldn't understand why Jiangshi Group would offer such favorable terms to Xiuli, with little benefit to themselves. If it weren't for the signed contract and the receipt of 100 million, she would have thought it was a scam. It couldn't be because of Qin Fan? Lin Qingyan pondered for a long time, ruling out one possibility after another, until she thought of Qin Fan. Qin Fan had once said, Jiang Qingning doesn't dare. What am I thinking? It couldn't possibly be Qin Fan. If he had such connections, why would he take on part-time jobs? Lin Qingyan shook her head, feeling that this reasoning was far-fetched. Then she adjusted her thoughts and began to focus on work. After all, with 100 million in the account, there were many things the company needed to do. Especially with the termination of the contracts of the two pillars, she would have to train new talents. In the afternoon, in a VIP ward of a hospital in Jiangcheng, Jiang Wenbin had just undergone surgery and lay on the bed, his body filled with various medical instruments and tubes, his eyes devoid of life. Mr. Jiang, we're truly sorry, we did our best. We couldn't preserve Master Jiang's reproductive ability, said the hospital's expert with a regretful expression. You may leave, a middle-aged man in a suit, with a calm demeanor, said in a low voice. This man was Jiang Hongyi, the head of the Jiang family. What happened to Wenbin? You said this morning that you would teach the Qin Fan a lesson. How did this happen? Su Xiuzhen rushed over upon hearing Jiang Wenbin's condition, her expression filled with confusion. Last night, after learning that Qin Fan and Lin Qingyan were living together, she hurriedly informed Jiang Wenbin, thinking that Qin Fan would surely suffer today. But how did Jiang Wenbin end up like this? Godmother, I was beaten by Qin Fan. Jiang Wenbin looked at Su Xiuzhen and spoke. How could that be? Can that poor boy really fight like that? Su Xiuzhen exclaimed in astonishment upon hearing this. Poor boy? Have you really investigated Qin Fan? Jiang Hongyi asked in a deep voice. What's wrong, Hongyi? Su Xiuzhen asked, looking puzzled. Just now, Miss Jiang warned me not to seek revenge, not to offend Qin Fan. Do you think he's a poor boy? Jiang Hongyi looked at Su Xiuzhen. What? Qin Fan knows the Jiang family? How is that possible? Su Xiuzhen was even more shocked upon hearing this. The Jiang family was just a vassal of the Jiang family. If not for the affection between the previous generations of the Jiang family and the Jiang family would not have cared about the Jiang family at all. You're all too foolish. A woman like Lin Qingyan would find an ordinary boyfriend? Jiang Hongyi looked at Su Xiuzhen and Jiang Wenbin and said. Su Xiuzhen fell silent immediately. I've always wanted you to match Wenbin with Lin Qingyan. Do you know why? Jiang Hongyi asked again. Dad, it's for the sake of Xiuli, the company, Jiang Wenbin spoke up. Xiuli is nothing but trifles. I don't care about it at all. What I want is Lin Qingyan, the person. She has extraordinary talents since childhood. Otherwise, would the Lin family's old master and old lady have taken her out of the orphanage, and even went against public opinion to let her inherit Xiaoli? Look at how much benefit Lin Qingyan has brought to Xiaoli since entering. This woman lacks only one thing: support. Once she has it, she will soar. Even if she doesn't, given enough time, she will still soar. Such talent, there is no one in the younger generation of the Zheng family who can compare. A woman like Lin Qingyan, would she fancy an ordinary person? This Qin Fan definitely has some ability. Zhang Hongyi spoke repeatedly, his eyes filled with dissatisfaction, dissatisfied with his own son for failing to win over Lin Qingyan, dissatisfied with Su Xiuzhen's bad deeds. Dad, but I've done all this, shouldn't we take revenge? Zhang Wenbin spoke with some unwillingness. But Qin Fan knows the Zheng family. Su Xiuzhen tried to persuade. The Zheng family? So what? Zhang Hongyi smiled at this moment. Zhang Tianxiong won't live long, and the Zheng family won't last long. Zhang Wenbin's eyes lit up at these words, looking expectantly at his father, Zhang Hongyi. Zhang Hongyi immediately dialed a phone number. Tell Mr. Zhou that I agree to the conditions, but there is one condition: my son's revenge needs to be avenged. On the other hand, after leaving Lin Qingyan's villa, Qin Fan leisurely made his way towards the Jiangshan Mingyue Tower, hoping to gain some enlightenment from the countless passers-by on the road. Unfortunately, it proved futile. Boom! As he arrived at a crossroad, a loud noise suddenly rang out. A dump truck on the street suddenly lost control and crashed into a nanny car on the road, followed by a series of collisions. Instantly, the entire street became chaotic, filled with cries of all sorts. The truck driver was covered in blood, lying lifelessly on the ground, while others affected were also covered in blood, some with broken limbs, lying on the ground miserably shouting for help. Save my sister! Among them, a 27 or 28-year-old mature beauty, covered in blood, slapped the back of the nanny car, hoarsely shouting, "My sister is still inside the car, save her." Qin Fan saw this scene and remembered his identity as a doctor, a healer, and immediately walked over. Meanwhile, many people opened the back door of the nanny car and pulled out a girl of about 10 years old. The girl was covered in blood, already unconscious. "Kiki, wake up quickly, don't scare your sister." The woman hugged the little girl, crying incessantly. "This child is seriously injured. Quick, call an ambulance." A man beside her calmly spoke. "Excuse me, let me through. I am a doctor. This child's injuries are very serious. It will be too late for the ambulance to arrive. We need to start first aid now." At this moment, a girl in a white down jacket, jeans, and a ponytail rushed over. Qin Fan saw this girl and was slightly stunned. He knew this girl, named Chu Xuecheng, an intern doctor in the same batch as him. She was outstanding in appearance, came from a well-off family, and was even a medical graduate student, so she was very popular in the hospital. There were. Chapter 18, Gathering. What are you doing? The woman, upon seeing Qin Fan suddenly slap her sister's forehead, screamed, "We're trying to save her. What are you doing?" "Scoundrel, we're in the middle of a rescue here. What are you messing around for? Get out of the way." The people around also loudly rebuked Qin Fan for his actions. "If anything happens to my sister, I'll make your whole family accompany her in the afterlife." The woman shouted fiercely at Qin Fan. "If you don't want her to die, then shut up," Qin Fan replied calmly. After speaking, Qin Fan pulled the little girl's soul back into her body. "Scoundrel, get out of here." The woman tried to push Qin Fan, but he remained unmoved. "Madman, he's simply a madman. The little girl is fighting for her life, and he's here playing God. Surely it's just for attention, shameless. Call the police, arrest him. Lock him up." The people around were filled with righteous indignation, cursing Qin Fan angrily. "Qin Fan, what on earth are you doing? Are you still a doctor? I'm trying to save a life here. Why are you causing trouble? Have you forgotten the duty of a doctor to save lives?" Chu Xuecheng also recognized Qin Fan and angrily scolded him. "Take another look," Qin Fan said calmly to Chu Xuecheng. Chu Xuecheng hesitated for a moment, then her hand trembled slightly, and she exclaimed, "Her heartbeat is back. Sister, it hurts." At the same time, the little girl not only regained her heartbeat but also opened her eyes weakly, awakening and crying out. "She's awake, she's actually awake. Could it be because of this person? No way, isn't he just playing tricks?" The crowd was filled with incredulity at the sight of the little girl waking up. "Send her to the hospital quickly, take her to the hospital for treatment." Chu Xueqing immediately regained her composure from the shock and spoke up immediately. Then, a doctor and 2 nurses came down from the ambulance and carried the little girl onto the ambulance. Chu Xueqing and the crowd breathed a sigh of relief. Xin Fan looked at the little girl being loaded into the ambulance, shaking his head. The little girl's injuries were severe, beyond what the hospital could treat. He had wanted to continue, but now that she had been taken away in the ambulance, there was nothing more he could do. Thank you for saving my sister. I misunderstood you just now, please forgive me. Keek's sister took a step forward, directly grasping Xin Fan's hand and thanking him profusely. She said, a doctor's duty is to save lives and help the injured, no need to thank. Xin Fan said plainly. Sir, could you leave a phone number? After I settle Kiki in the hospital, I will come back to thank both of you properly. The woman asked Xin Fan. No need, it's just a small gesture. Xin Fan shook his head. He didn't intend to have too much involvement with this woman. Sir, if I don't repay you, I won't feel at ease. The woman continued to plead. In fact, she wanted Xin Fan's contact information because she had already seen something extraordinary in his actions just now. When Xin Fan gently uttered soul, return, she realized that his methods were likely not just medical skills. Her judgment was sharp, this gentleman was definitely not an ordinary person. She wanted Xin Fan's contact information to ensure Kiki had a safeguard. Xin Fan, just give this lady a phone number, it's not a big deal. Chu Xueqing chimed in from the side. Xin Fan looked at Chu Xueqing, somewhat resigned, and then said, just write it down. The woman immediately wrote down Xin Fan's number and then said, thank you, truly grateful. With that, she hurriedly left for the hospital. I never would have thought, this pair of young men and women are so skilled in medicine. Especially that young man, I just misunderstood him, what a humiliation. The people around praised Xin Fan and Chu Xueqing endlessly, while those who had previously rebuked Xin Fan looked ashamed. I didn't expect your medical skills to be quite high, I must admit, I'm somewhat surprised. At this moment, Chu Xueqing smiled and spoke to Xin Fan. It's all right. Xin Fan responded casually. Chu Xueqing felt somewhat surprised at Xin Fan's indifferent tone. In the hospital, men would usually flock around her. If she initiated a conversation with any man, he would surely be ecstatic. However, despite this surprise, she didn't dwell on it and instead said, you must be attending the gathering, right? Xin Fan replied, guessing that Chu Xueqing was also going to the moonlit pavilion for the gathering. Then let's go, ride with me in my car. Chu Xueqing immediately suggested. After a moment of consideration, Xin Fan didn't refuse and got into her Mercedes with Chu Xueqing. Oh, I heard you fell off Taishan, are you okay? Chu Xueqing asked Xin Fan as she drove. Of course, otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here. Xin Fan replied. The incident where the original Xin Fan fell off Taishan was known to everyone who had gone with him at the time. Xin Fan's return alive was considered a miracle, but in reality, Xin Fan was no longer the same person he was before. It was because of this incident that Xin Fan had a few days off. He. Chu Xueqing chuckled at his words, her smile blossoming like flowers. I heard from Zhao Shuangshuang that you're not one to talk or laugh, but now that I've interacted with you, it doesn't seem so. You're quite humorous. Xin Fan shrugged, offering no response. Then, the two chatted casually on the way, and about 15 minutes later, they arrived at the Moonlit Pavilion. The Moonlit Pavilion was a famous restaurant in Jiangcheng, but its reputation wasn't just for its food. It was well known for its strong background, boasting many entertainment facilities inside, including even a casino. At this moment, the initiator of this gathering, Pang Guohao, had long been waiting outside. And beside him stood a stylish and beautiful woman. This woman was Zhao Shuangshuang. Pang Guohao's father was the vice president of the hospital, and Zhao Shuangshuang wanted to stay at the hospital after her internship ended, so naturally, she wanted to cozy up to him. They're here. Pang Guohao immediately saw Chu Xueqing's Mercedes parked not far away and smiled, then walked towards the car to greet Chu Xueqing. But Zhao Shuangshuang's expression turned sour. She knew that Pang Guohao only had eyes for Chu Xueqing. However, Pang Guohao took a few steps forward, then stopped, his smile freezing in place. Not only did Pang Guohao stop, even Zhao Shuangshuang looked at Chu Xueqing in disbelief. Chu X. Weeking and Xin Fan got out of the car, chatting and laughing as they walked to the entrance. Seeing Pang Guohao standing in the way, Chu Xueqing blinked apologetically. We encountered a traffic accident on the way, so we're a bit late. I'll take a penalty drink later, mister. Pang, please don't blame me for being late. No, how could I? It's already my honor that Xueqing is willing to come. Pang Guahao replied with a smile. Then let's go in, everyone's been waiting for quite some time. Xueqing smiled and said. Pang Guahao agreed, wanting to walk side by side with Xueqing. But he found that Xueqing instead spoke to Qin Fan, let's go. Then she walked shoulder to shoulder with Qin Fan towards the entrance, causing Pang Guahao's eyes to turn cold. Zhao Xuanshuang stood aside, looking at Qin Fan with a shocked expression. Qin Fan actually ignored her. In the past, whenever Qin Fan saw her, he would always stick to her. But this time, from start to finish, Qin Fan didn't even glance at her once. Coupled with how close Qin Fan and Xueqing seemed at the moment, she couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. What are you standing there for? Let's go inside. Pang Guahao blared at Zhao Xuanshuang coldly. Zhao Xuanshuang walked in with Pang Guahao, feeling resentful. In Chapter 19, titled Provocation. Soon, Qin Fan and Xueqing arrived at the private room on the third floor, where they found a dozen or so people, men and women, seated around a large round table. I can't believe it, Qin Fan, you're really alright. We all thought you were done for when you fell down the mountain, but here you are, safe and sound. The search team looked for you for 7 days and found nothing. You really have luck on your side. Upon entering the VIP room, Qin Fan and Xueqing were immediately surrounded by a cacophony of voices from the people inside. Alright, let's have Qin Fan take a seat first. I know you're all curious, but we'll let Qin Fan explain what happened later. Xueqing intervened to ease the situation for Qin Fan. Shortly after, Qin Fan and Xueqing sat down together, while Pang Guahao and Zhao Xuanshuang also entered and exchanged pleasantries with the others before sitting together. Oh my, Miss Chu, how come you're here with Qin Fan? Some accident on the road. We encountered an accident, and together we rescued someone, Xueqing briefly explained the situation on the road. Just that? Pang Guahao, after listening, disdainfully replied, his gaze carrying a hint of resentment towards Qin Fan. With Pang Guahao's words, the room fell silent instantly, and a subtle tension permeated the air. Pang Guahao had been relentlessly pursuing Xueqing, while Qin Fan was Zhao Xuanshuang's lackey, who in turn was Pang Guahao's lackey. Now, the seating arrangement of the four hinted at an impending conflict. Pang, how many people do you think can stay in the hospital this time? At this moment, a man smirked at Pang Guahao. This man, named Xu Yong, was Pang Guahao's follower. How many? It depends on your performance, Pang Guahao replied with a double meaning. One referred to performance in the hospital, the other referred to performance in front of him. Come, let's drink to Pang, another person toasted to Pang Guahao. Why drink to me? You should toast to Qin Fan. He survived falling off Taishan Mountain and even saved someone on the way. That's some serious luck. Let's all raise our glasses to the lucky Qin Fan. Pang Guahao, you should kneel down and toast to the heavens. It's divine favor bestowed upon you. Pang Guahao said, half jokingly and half maliciously, inwardly cursing why Qin Fan, this idiot, didn't die from the fall and dared to come and compete with him for women. At this moment, the atmosphere inside the room became tense. Pang Guahao, what are you talking about? Xueqing's face turned cold as she spoke up. Pang, you're not wrong. Qin Fan didn't die. He should kneel down and toast to the heavens, Zhao Xuanshuang chimed in, disregarding Qin Fan's past kindness to her, wanting to provoke Qin Fan. Before, he had been ignoring her all along. Yes, this guy didn't die even after this. He should kneel down and toast to the heavens. That's right. As Zhao Xuanshuang spoke, others joined in one after another, wanting to show off in front of Pang Guahao. Qin Fan remained calm, showing no reaction. What nonsense are you all spouting? In this day and age, you still believe in gods and heavens? How dare you call yourselves medical students? Xueqing defended Qin Fan against the many people targeting him. Pang Guahao did it intentionally, wanting Qin Fan to kneel and become the laughingstock of everyone. If Qin Fan didn't kneel, they could accuse him of disrespecting the heavens. It was a sinister scheme. Just kidding, Qin Fan, don't take it to heart, Pang Guahao spoke up, not daring to continue the provocation, afraid that Xueqing would dislike him even more because of this incident. However, Xueqing's defense of Qin Fan only fueled Pang Guahao's resentment towards Qin Fan even more. With Pang Guahao's words, the atmosphere improved slightly, and everyone started chatting. Of course, most of the conversation revolved around how to stay in the hospital, as jobs were hard to come by now. So, apart from Chu Xueqing and Qin Fan, everyone else was currying favor with Pang Guahao. Xuan, why don't you and Pang come together for a toast? Tonight's the wedding night, Yan Ke joked. Oh my, what are you saying? So embarrassing, Zhao Xuanxuang said, refusing verbally but exchanging meaningful glances with Pang Guahao. Ha, it's too early for that. We're not getting married until tonight, Pang Guahao laughed heartily. Everyone laughed along with him. Everyone present knew that Qin Fan was Zhao Xuanxuang's lackey now. If you dared to touch Pang Guahao's woman, Pang Guahao would mess with your goddess. Pang, it's still early. How about we go upstairs and play a few rounds? Yan Ke, also a lackey of Pang Guahao, suddenly suggested. Sure, my dad knows the boss here. We can go play a few rounds, Pang Guahao agreed with a proud smile. Your dad knows the boss here? Someone asked in admiration. We've had drinks together several times. We're pretty close, Pang Guahao boasted. The boss of Jiangshan Mingyueju in Jiangcheng is an extraordinary figure, Zhao Xuanxuang also admired. That's right. The boss of Jiangshan Mingyueju is Chao Hu, known as Lord Hu. You must have heard of him, Pang Guahao said. I have. He's a big shot in Jiangcheng. They say he has a foot in both the underworld and the overworld. Quite impressive. In Jiangcheng, he's a bigwig who walks sideways. People immediately began to praise. Here, Pang, I'll toast to you. You can count on me in the future. One person stood up and toasted. Pang, please accept my knees, another person said. This time, even Chu Xueqing was moved. She had heard her family mention Chao Hu's name many times. He was indeed a big shot in Jiangcheng, able to do as he pleased. I didn't expect Dean Pang to know Lord Hu. We'll have to rely on you in the future. Chu Xueqing smiled at Pang Guahao. In an instant, everyone admired Pang Guahao to the extreme. At this moment, Pang Guahao glanced at Qin Fan, his eyes filled with all kinds of smugness. Qin Fan looked at this scene and suddenly found the mortal world quite interesting. It was all about who you knew. In the world of cultivation, it was all about strength, with no regard for connections. Let's go, I'll take you to play a few rounds and experience the life of the upper class, Pang Guahao said with great enthusiasm. Then, Pang Guahao led everyone to the top floor venue. The venue was crowded with people, and many burly men stood around watching the scene. The venue offered a variety of activities, including roulette, blackjack, and even big and small. The participants were constantly shouting, and the atmosphere was extremely lively. The group was instantly infected by the atmosphere and wanted to join in the fun. Chu Xueqing was also inspired by the atmosphere, eager to try her hand. Xueqing, whatever you want to play, play it. If you lose, it's on me. If you win, it's yours, Pang Guahao generously offered to Chu Xueqing. See, this is how Dean Pang pursues women. You just stand there like a fool. Zhao Xuanxuang finally found the opportunity to ridicule her lackey, Qin Fan. Meaning, Qin Fan, you should pay for her gambling. Qin Fan naturally remained indifferent and calmly replied, 9 out of 10 times, one loses in gambling, especially in a casino. Chapter 20, A Cunning Trap. In a gambling den, the odds are always against you, Qin Fan spoke calmly. This remark immediately drew disdain from the crowd, casting a shadow over the atmosphere. Stay and watch if you're not playing. We're leaving, Zhao Xuanxuang scolded Qin Fan with a glare. And you can stay and spectate, Pang Guahao sneered at Qin Fan with disdain. Meanwhile, Chu Xueqing glanced at Qin Fan. Although she knew he was not wrong, the current atmosphere tempted her to join in. Let's play a few rounds. It won't hurt. If you don't like it, you can just watch from the sidelines. Exactly, Pang Guahao chimed in. With that, Pang Guahao led the group into the venue. After a few rounds, they all won substantial amounts of money. Pang Guahao, in particular, won a staggering 100,000, while Chu Xueqing and Zhao Xuanxuang also pocketed tens of thousands. Excitement filled the air as they cheered. Qin Fan, why don't you join in and play a few rounds, even if just for a few hundred? Chu Xueqing asked when she noticed Qin Fan watching from the sidelines. Qin Fan shook his head. It's best to stop here. Otherwise, you won't come out on top. You're such a killjoy. No wonder Xuanxuang isn't interested in you. A companion of theirs expressed her displeasure towards Qin Fan. This woman, LV Jing, was Zhao Xuanxuang's close friend and Qin Fan's schoolmate. Due to Qin Fan's background, LV Jing had always looked down on him and often schemed to alienate him, leaving Qin Fan no choice but to act as a lackey. LV Jing and Zhao Shuangshuang were like a pair of scheming sisters. "That's because you can't win," Peng Guahao sneered, "can't you see? As long as you follow my lead, you'll win every time." Qin Fan naturally ignored this remark. "He's just like that, utterly useless," Zhao Shuangshuang mocked. Previously, Zhao Shuangshuang wouldn't have been so derisive towards Qin Fan, but now things were different. Qin Fan definitely couldn't stay at the hospital, and she was sure she could stay with Peng Guahao's support. It was time to cut ties with this lackey. Seeing Qin Fan's lack of reaction, Zhu Xueqing couldn't help but feel disappointed. Even she had won nearly 20,000 by betting just a few hundred. Yet, Qin Fan refused to risk even a few hundred yuan, lacking any courage. It was truly contemptible. "Let's ignore him and continue," Peng Guahao interjected. Subsequently, they followed Peng Guahao, quickly winning more money. Their enthusiasm soared, and they increased their bets. However, from that moment on, they began to lose. Nevertheless, their enthusiasm persisted despite the losses. They were only losing small amounts, which did little to dampen their spirits. "Let's not continue," Qin Fan urged, reaching out to stop Zhu Xueqing. He didn't care about the others, but Zhu Xueqing had shown him some kindness, so he intervened. "We've only lost twice. We can win it back right away," Zhu Xueqing insisted. With that, she turned to the roulette wheel. "Red, red, red. Ah, black. No luck," she sighed. "Again?" Zhu Xueqing demanded when she didn't win. "Yes, keep going. Bet more this time. We'll win it all back in one go," Peng Guahao encouraged. Not only him, but others also followed suit, increasing their bets. However, none of them won in the following rounds. They not only lost their winnings but also their initial capital. "Will you continue, gentlemen?" the roulette dealer asked with a smile. "Who has cash?" Peng Guahao asked the others. They looked at each other, unable to produce a single penny. They had gambled away all their cash earlier. "We can lend you money if you want to continue," the dealer offered cheerfully, gesturing towards a stack of cash nearby. "Give me 200,000, Peng Guahao demanded arrogantly. His family was wealthy, so a couple of 100,000 meant nothing to him. "All right," the dealer agreed and then looked at the others. However, the others hesitated and didn't ask for loans. "I'll continue. This time, I'll bet on black," Peng Guahao declared. He won the next two rounds, reigniting the interest of onlookers who then borrowed money to join in. Zhao Shuangshuang borrowed 50,000, LV Jing borrowed 30,000, and even Zhu Xueqing borrowed 10,000 to continue betting, intending to recoup their losses. Seeing this scene, Qin Fan could only shake his head. However, they soon grew disheartened as they not only failed to recover their losses but also lost the borrowed money. "Let's stop," someone finally realized something was wrong and spoke up. "Yes, let's go. We've had our fun," another agreed. "Right, we've had our experience. Let's call it quits," others chimed in. "Are you sure you don't want to continue?" the roulette dealer asked Peng Guahao and the rest. "We're done," Peng Guahao replied promptly. "Then, please repay the money you borrowed earlier. It totals 2,260,000, plus interest." "Rounded up, it's 8 million, the dealer said with a smile. "Are you robbing us? We borrowed it not long ago, and now you're asking for 8 million with interest." Zhu Xueqing exclaimed in shock. "Interest is our policy," the dealer stated firmly. As he spoke, many burly men surrounded them, causing the group's faces to pale. This was a scam. Trembling, Peng Guahao stammered, I can't come up with that much money." 8 million was beyond what his father, no matter how indulgent, could provide. Moreover, if this got out, his reputation would be ruined. "If you want to repay, you can continue borrowing money and playing. Then, once you've won enough, you can repay us," the dealer suggested enticingly. As soon as he said that, everyone understood it was a trap. They were being encouraged to keep borrowing and playing until the dealer was satisfied, which 8 million wouldn't satisfy. "My father is Peng Jiawei, the vice president of Zhenghe Hospital. He's friends with your boss. Can't we find a compromise?" Peng Guahao desperately invoked his father's connections. "A friend of our boss?" The dealer hesitated upon hearing this, then said, "Wait here, I'll make a call." "You wait here, people are on their way," he continued. After saying a few words on the phone, he put it down and addressed Peng Guahao and his group. Relieved, they thought their problem was solved. Peng Xiaoye is truly remarkable, Xu Yong flattered. Peng Xiaoye, I'm willing to do anything for you, Zhao Shuangshuang flirted shamelessly. Leaning towards Peng Guahao. Chu Xueqing also looked at Peng Guahao with admiration. At that moment, Peng Guahao felt like he was at the peak of his life. Who claimed to be a friend of our boss? At this moment, a domineering voice rang out. A burly figure, exuding a strong aura of lawlessness, strode over. Boss Biao, it's this person. He said his father is Peng Jiawei and claimed to be a friend of our boss, so I called. The dealer immediately pointed at Peng Guahao. In an instant, Peng Guahao's body tensed. He felt as if he were being stared at by a wild beast. Smack! Next moment, Boss Biao walked up to Peng Guahao, slapped him across the face, and sent him sprawling to the ground. Then, with a sneer, he said, "Who the hell gave you the guts to claim your father is a friend of our boss?" As this statement landed, Zhao Shuangshuang and the others were all dumbfounded.